What up, y'all? Welcome to Chip and Zay here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Happy Thursday, everybody. Thursday, January 8th. Got all things transfer portal going down. I see my man in the waiting room with the hair on point today, the great Chip Brown.
Hey, in the immortal words of Judy Brown, happiness is a choice. And what a crazy day already that we've had, you know? So, I mean, I think the commitment from Raleek Brown is nice, but yeah, we got a lot of stuff to get caught up on, and I'm gonna try to stay as focused as I can given the situation. But you know, we had some interesting stuff last night, like Bo Barnes, Zena Umazulu, who 4 days ago posted, Texas with Texas football 100. And today he's in the portal. I mean, the bottom line is, you can't pay everybody, but man, it's I don't know. You can't pay everybody, I guess. So, but Bo Barnes, he goes into the portal, because he wants to hear from his defensive coaches, and he doesn't hear from them. So he goes into the portal. Then last night he gets, he gets a call from Muschamp, Johnny Nansen. Hey, you're important to us. And, now we have to see how the rest of it goes. And, they got to get their contract stuff figured out. Is it going to be enough to get Bo Barnes out of the portal? You'd like to think so, because that guy looks like a guy who can help you. Looks like a developmental player you need at a position of need. So it's, and look, if you're recruiting at a high level, and you have for a while, like Steve Sarkisian, it's going to be harder and harder for you to keep your second and third team players. You have 4 stars and 5 stars waiting to play who will start at other programs, and they're going to come after those players and pay them more than you can pay them. And that's a situation that the teams that have been at the top, like Georgia, Alabama, Texas, in terms of the recruiting game, that's something that they're experiencing right now, that, some of these other programs that haven't recruited at a high level for 4 or 5 years, like Indiana, Texas Tech, that are not having to deal with that right now. Their recruiting classes were not highly ranked. So those players that were recruited 2-3 years ago, they'll say goodbye to those guys and keep trying to hit home runs. This is where we are. This is where we are when you have free agency every year. So, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jamie French hitting the portal is a prime example on last year. Brandon Harris, Steve Sarkisian, everybody involved in making those decisions on how much to pay the incoming freshmen coming in was a miss, because you got a lot of money you're wasting, not spending. You're wasting money on a guy when you're not playing him. And he's just riding pine, getting splinters in his ass on the bench, can't get no bump. Not even on special teams. We can't get to do the punt return, something. And I can't knock Jamie French at all, just like I can't knock anyone else trying to better their lives, and whether that's more money or opportunity, whether the scheme's going to be better on their next place they go to. Can't knock them. But also, what is Jamie French supposed to do? You're playing Dalen McCutcheon over him. You saw what Khalil Lockett did in the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl. I know Parker Livingston's at Oklahoma. I know DeAndre Moore is there, but has made it known they're trying to bring in other wide receivers. They got Emmett Mosley. He going to play. They got Ryan Wingo. He going to play. So I also expect McCutcheon and Khalil Lockett to get better too. So if you got these guys in front of you, and who knows what they're going to do with Michael Terry, we still have no idea what Steve Sarkisian is going to fit with him. Is he going to be a running back? Is he going to be a wide receiver? More gadget guy where he does both. Debo Samuel comparisons always come up with Michael Terry. I know you compare him to little Jordan Humphrey. I don't know what's going to happen with Michael Terry.
Well, he needs to be like little Jordan Humphrey. I don't know that he is. I don't know what position he has. I'm a little mystified by Michael Terry. So
yeah. And that, again, they paid him a lot of money to come here too. So if they can't figure out what to do with him, then he becomes a waste. I hope that's not the case. But again, Jamie French made a lot of Skrilla to ride the bench this year. And I don't think they're trying to do that because these guys, they're hitting the portal. You pay them a lot of money, then they're hitting the portal. So that's tough to see. And they're trying to, get it back even and not get into those messes this upcoming season. But it seems like with what we're seeing, and again, you got Malik Brown, so it ain't as slow as it was yesterday. Like, let's be grateful of that. Malik Brown, he's going to make some noise for the Horn, especially with what Steve Sarkisian and Jabbar Jalouk will be able to do with him. But French and Zena and just all these guys that you would want to stick it out and be along for the ride and be a part of the developmental process with just this era of the transfer portal and NIL, that's just not the case.
Yeah. Yeah. And look, if Jamie French would have knocked it out of the park in fall camp, he would have been the one playing. And not Dalen McCutcheon. But Dalen McCutcheon was the one who was running the sharper routes, catching the ball. And you got to compete every day. And these guys are learning this is a business, man. You like having all that money? If you think you've arrived, you are a fool. If you don't care about the money and you just care about competing and being the best, you're going to kill it. If you're content with the money, you're probably not going to, go very far. If you love the game and you want to be great and you want to be developed and because you want to go to the league and make an imprint, then you're going to be okay. You're chasing greatness. You're not chasing money. You chase greatness, the money will chase you. And that's what, these guys are learning. Look, it's a lot. It's a lot at 18. And some of these guys don't have other role models to look up to yet. Some they do. I mean, Jeremiah Smith got paid, keeps putting the ball in the end zone. That's a guy who he's chasing greatness, so the money's going to chase him. Cam Coleman, going to be interesting to see what his payday ends up being. But, he's a guy who, when you turn on the film, he wins the contested catch. He's got the catch radius. He's long. He's what you want. He looks great.
He's the only reason why Auburn won games and was in games this year. Really the only reason. So I understand it to a certain extent. I understand it from his point of view. I also understand it from Texas' point of view. And
that's 1 year. You're getting Cam Coleman for 1 year. If a program's going to pay him $5 million for 1 year, go get it. Good luck. I don't know what other talent is on that roster, but everything I've heard is right around 2, which is a lot for 1 year. A lot.
Yeah, because if he's getting 2, what's Colin Simmons getting?
Right. Colin Simmons is going to be knocking on that door. He's going to be real close. He's going to be at 1.5 or higher. I'll tell you that.
And good for him. And he put in the time, and it was organic. He came in as a recruit, came in early signing period, January 2024, and has busted his ass and has earned everything that he's gotten. Started off slow this past year, really picked it up. One of the best edge rushers in all the nation, like a lot of people predicted. So I understand him, but we've been talking about it, Chip. Just you're really risking your culture bringing in these dudes that weren't a part of those brutal 90, 100-degree workouts that Torrey Beckman's putting you through. And yeah, maybe some guys would be cool with somebody making that much money because they see it as, okay, he's helping the team. But other guys, I talked about the jealousy aspect. Hey, what the hell is he getting this for? He didn't put in the grind like us. He ain't one of the OGs that's been here from jump. You can feel a certain way. And it's up to Sark and Brandon Harris, and again, everyone's involved to figure all that out.
Yeah. Look, Brandon Harris, that guy's got a tough job, man. Yeah. But here's the thing. You gotta be able to talk to these guys and maintain a relationship. You got to be able to communicate with these guys and maintain a relationship. You got to give them tough news and maintain a relationship. And because in a lot of ways, Brandon Harris is the spokesman for Steve Sarkisian when dealing with player negotiations. And, there's a way to let guys know, hey, we're probably not going to be able to hit your number. If you can get that number, man, we understand. We love you. We appreciate you. We want you to stay. There's got to be that, because Texas is in that spot right now. They're in that spot where when you're recruiting high-end players, and there are schools that also recruited those players who need a player at that position and don't have all the depth on the roster that you have, and they can pay you, you're going to have to say, hey, man, we want you, we need you, but we understand. And just try to be as, upfront and transparent about it as possible.
Yeah, I don't really understand the fans hating on Brandon Harris. I saw one fan compare him to Jerry Jones, which isn't even close to fair. Like, Brandon Harris has a certain amount of money that he has to deal with when it comes to all this negotiations. People were talking about it with Bo Ogden too. Like, Bo Ogden's done a really crappy job with the men's basketball team. Same thing. You get a certain amount of money. You got to go with the coach. Let him know, hey, can we get on the same page about the guys you like? Blah, 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 to figure it out. Like, it's still not like the NFL. People see GM and they look at it as you got the same role as you do in the NFL. No, they're slightly different, even though it's the same title. Working in the NFL and whatever the hell's going on in college sports right now, very different. Because at least there's rules in the National Football League that help the GMs to where these agents know what's up and they're not coming in crazy and unrealistic. Here in college football, there ain't no rules. So yeah, these agents, some ain't even certified because that's a rule. You don't have to be certified. You could be Uncle Ray Ray and be the agent of 5-star Jerome, and he could be working deals out here with no experience, Chip. 0 experience. Ain't been to school, probably dropped out of high school. Just everything bad. But dealing with these big-time decisions. So I give Brandon Harris grace, man. He's trying to figure it out. Last year, made mistakes. Just too many guys that were worth way too much money riding the bench. So they're trying to fix those mistakes and have a different mentality going into 2026. And right now, fixing that, it seems a little slow. But I appreciate them realizing, yeah, we can't keep doing what we're doing and paying these young guys coming in that ain't giving us a damn thing on the field. And if that means less scholarships, all right, like so be it. Which sucks because it seems kind of the opposite of what I was thinking coming into the season. You get 105. So how could you possibly end up with less? But those guys that you bring on, you got to make sure they're important. You can't just throw guys money, throw guys scholarships at this point when they're not going to see the field. That cannot keep happening because it's going to put you in the bind like you are now.
Yeah. I mean, people, I think this is where it gets tricky and people don't, they think Texas is unique. But the top programs are having more guys leave than are coming in. The programs that have been recruiting at a high level for a longer period of time than Indiana and Texas Tech. So you got to, people are saying, these players are leaving. Can we upgrade from them? In certain situations, maybe. I mean, I think Raleek Brown has a different skill set than Quintravian Wisner. Now, is he the same heart and soul guy? Is he the same, I'm going to give it everything at every second of practice, every second of a game? I'm going to talk everybody up. If I see a guy down, I'm going to pick him up. Is he that? I don't know. He looks like he's a pretty fiery, emotional guy. He's going to give you some juice.
Yeah.
So,
And think about if Quintravian Wisner would have stayed with Raleek Brown. You're good. You're great in that spot, which I'm sure they tried to pitch to Quintravian Wisner. Like, hey, man, we got to have a 1A, 1B situation because we're going to hopefully play a lot of games this year. And in the 9-game SEC schedule plus Ohio State, that wear and tear from a guy who had injury problems this year, that's a lot. That's a lot. So the numbers that were getting thrown around with Q Wisner, they just didn't make sense. And right. I think Malik Brown under the offensive line that we just saw, he would have been better. No offense to Quintravian Wisner, just the explosiveness that Raleek Brown has opposed to what Quintravian Wisner brings with a bad offensive line, which I hope it's not bad in 2026, but if it's still a little shaky, you at least got a back that could make some things happen a little bit more with a shaky offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a legit question. Royal Blue says we've upgraded at running back and cornerback, still need wide receiver, another running back, linebacks. I mean, again, offensive line. Number one. You need at least 2 offensive linemen. You need at least 2 guards. If you can get Connor Robertson back at center, there's a guy who's been in your culture, who's a try-hard guy, solid, not spectacular, but smart guy. You know, there's good and bad on his film for sure, but you've got to get the offensive line right, and you got to get the linebacker situation right. Because yes, you've got Ty Anthony Smith, you got Tyler Atkinson coming in as a 5-star who's probably getting paid good chunk of dough, and he's going to play as a freshman. I mean, there's no doubt about it. We'll see how special he is. Maybe he's Kelvin Banks special, and he can just walk in and be a dude from day one. Zach Thomas was that way. Derek Johnson was too, to a degree, but he was so fast. He would get himself out of position. He settled down so much more as a sophomore, and then was just a nightmare by the time we got to 2004, because he was 6'4", 230, and could run like Raleek Brown. So, yeah, I mean, look, I know losing Zena, yeah, that hurts. I mean, he 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks. He had a sack in the Citrus Bowl. He's a guy who's got great length, but you've got Colin Simmons and you've got Lance Jackson. You've got Richard Wesley coming in. You've got, Jamarian, oh God, I got names on the brain.
Jamarian Carlton from Temple
coming in. And remember, Richard Wesley he's 6'4", 245. Jamarian Carlton is 6'5", 265.
Yeah. And isn't Wesley young?
Yeah,
Wesley's like Moro Ojimo when he was coming in?
Yes, he's 17.
Yeah.
He's going to be 17 as a freshman in the fall. So, you've got guys, you got Brad Spence, you got Colton Vosick, you got Justice Terry. We got to see how Justice Terry's body continues to develop, because he's perfect for that strong side defensive end that Will Muschamp covets. He wants that strong side defensive end to be able to slide inside and play the 4-eye. When he goes to an odd front, he needs that end to be, in between the tackle and the guard, and be able to take on that gap, control that gap. And, there's going to be a lot of odd front with Will Muschamp. There's going to be a lot of 5-man front. There's going to be 4-man. He's going to confuse. His whole thing is confusion. And given the appearance that these guys are blitzing, he's going to overload one side, and then he's going to drop that whole side and send, pressure from the other side. It's going to be fun to watch. Muschamp, when he's in his bag, can make you look silly. And then when he's got talent, big time talent, NFL talent, he can make you look really silly. So, he knows what he's looking for. This Bo Barnes situation is going to be interesting to watch, because there has been some, poor communication, I think, at times. And sometimes you're like, okay, are they trying to give this guy the soft goodbye or the hard goodbye? Or is someone dropping the ball there? Because, Bo Barnes, they told him a number that I think he was okay with, as long as he was told by his coaches, hey, you're going to play. We see you as a guy who's going to be in the rotation. And, just tell him what the plan is. Because if you're not a big part of the plan, then yeah, I'm going to move on. And so he got that call from Muschamp, from Nansen, and it sounded like things were moving in the direction of getting resolved. But then you got to finish the deal. You got to okay, here are the new numbers. We good? Signature, done. And from what I heard before we went on the air, here are the new papers, signature, done had not happened. So, and this is a guy who's already, like, am I important or not? So there's a lot going on. And the communication has to be really good.
And yeah, I understand that. And Elijah Bo Barnes, he has every right to want to have that communication with his coaches so he can know what to expect if he does decide to stay. But also, man, you're already getting paid. Now we have to promise you playing time?
No. He just wants, okay, what you told me, I need it in writing so I can sign it. It's that simple. Like I was told Jordan Washington was told a number. His agent said, okay, send over the paperwork. They never sent the paperwork.
Damn.
The agent tried, I was told 15 times, calls, texts, we need the paperwork. And when it dragged out that far, they were like, screw it, we're out of here.
Wow.
So was that, sometimes it's, if that's how you're letting a guy know that we're not, we don't see eye to eye anymore, that's a tough way to do it.
Yeah, that's a little cold, ain't it?
If you tell me a number and I'm like, okay, just send me the paperwork, let's get it done. And then the paperwork doesn't come. And you're like, hey, are you sending the paperwork? So.
Yeah, you could say, hey, I don't think it's a good fit. We just brought over my man from Michigan State.
Well,
we like Mario Winston. We like Nick Townsend. You'd be 4 for 5 on the depth chart.
Right. And every day things are changing based on what you're trying to fill. Like Texas has to get they have to get these offensive line spots filled. They have to get the linebackers filled so that they know that they've got their needs covered. And the longer you go, when an agent for a player knows you need something, their leverage goes up.
Yep.
The cost goes up. And then you start to look at guys, developmental guys like this Dylan Sikorsky from Oregon State. He's a rising sophomore. He's got 6 starts at left guard, but he's got really good size. He's 6'4", 332. He's a guy you look at and you say, okay, we can mold him. He's got 3 years of eligibility. He's visiting today. He's not a finished product. He's not Joe Brunner from Wisconsin who started at left guard for 2 seasons. This guy started at left guard for 6 games and on a not so good team. Yeah. So now you're looking for that guy who shows you promise on a bad team. Man, we can get him at a good price. We can mold him. They're trying to cover all their bases. They're looking at Andrew Sprague and Jake Guarnera, who were fed up with Sharon Moore and the lack of discipline in the program, but they weren't fed up with Michigan and all their friends and all their relationships and all their teammates and their bonds. They were frustrated because they're embarrassed. The program,
Coach was horny. They were frustrated.
Yeah, they're frustrated. So the program's a joke. They're pissed. They're in the portal, but then Whittingham comes in, and Whittingham is all about discipline and details. They're like, oh, okay. All right. We're good. Well, Sprague was a guy Texas was like, and Texas was seen as a favorite for him, but Kyle Whittingham comes in, said the right things. So it's not like Texas made some bad offer to him. He went back, talked to his coach, realized, you know what? Okay, we're going to be okay. I don't have to give up all these bonds, all this work, all this blood, sweat, and tears I've put in. we're gonna get better. We're gonna be a more detail oriented program. I can play for this guy. So he decides to Guarnera and Sprague decide to stay put. And so, everything's changing,
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, we've been talking about the leverage. My petty ass, if I was Ty Anthony Smith, because that linebacker room, it's like Gary Coleman small right now. So why wouldn't I'd leverage that? But like, hey, y'all might have to give me some more Skrilla, because if I'm getting all the snaps, that's going to be a lot of wear and tear on my body. And Ty Anthony Smith looking around, and he like Will Smith in the final episode of Fresh Prince when he was in the crib and it was just empty by himself. That's what it's like for Ty Anthony Smith. Johnny Nanson's right there. He chilling with him. But yeah, like that leverage game, it's tough. And you're already Texas. I talked about this too. Like, people are coming in with ignorant narratives because it's Texas and they think they got all the money in the world. And they think that they're saying, screw revenue sharing and that 20-something million that everybody's getting. Texas ain't doing that. We know Texas has more, which in a way they should, with that third party and all the connections and the long game and understanding that Texas degree, it goes a long way after your career, especially if you come back to the state and live here. But they ain't thinking about that right now, Chip. So I really wish that this coaching staff would just say, we're this good of coaches to where we could bring in some dude, diamond in the rough, ain't asking for nothing, maybe at a small mid-major, maybe go the Trinidad Chambliss route and go D2, and we're going to develop them and we're going to put them in the right situations to win because we see something in them and we can make it work. And again, yeah, I wish it was easy where you could just get a guy and they know exactly what to do and you barely have to coach them and you could go on and win a natty. But sometimes that ain't the case. Sometimes you got to coach them up. You got to develop them. You got to put them in the right situations to win ball games. So if this coaching staff has to do that, then hey, more hours at the facility. Sorry, L'Oreal, we can't go on that date tonight. I got to work. I got to grind. Last year, you saw what happened last year. Sorry, can't do it. You can't go out of town this week. So that's where I'm at. Because, hey, okay, you didn't get the guys you want, but bring in guys that, like you've been saying, Chip, just got chip on their shoulder, got something to prove, that's been a part of losing and is tired of that, and they want to change that, and they will do whatever it takes for your program. Like, I don't think that's desperate. Like, if you're a coach, you want to do that. You want to bring in guys that want to be there, at least want to be there, and not gonna take an arm and a leg to get them in. And then once you get them in, they already broke the bank, and then you realize we paid them and they ain't worth shit. Oh, no. After the year Kyle Flynn and that offensive line had, you can't do that. You can't do that, man.
Yeah.
So as Jack says, it's not a money problem. All right.
Well, yeah, Texas is losing a lot of players, but are they losing their frontline guys? I mean, they lost a frontline guy in Leonga Lafau. And
Dion got him, by the way. You see that?
Yeah.
Leonga Lafau going to Colorado.
All right. I see our man Lance Taylor, our SEC insider and prognosticator and Rams homer. Lance Taylor of Next Round Live and lanceslock.com for the picks. LT, Happy New Year. How you doing?
Hey, Happy New Year, fellas. Good to catch up with you guys. Appreciate you having me on again.
Absolutely. Lance. I mean, we got playoff games tonight and tomorrow night. Thursday night for the berth in the national championship. Lance, Zay and I were terrible in our picks. I I was wrong on Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas Tech. I got Indiana right. Zay was right on Miami. He was wrong on Texas Tech, Bama, and Georgia. What do you think, LT?
Well, not to pat myself on the back. I am 5-1 against the number in these college football playoffs. I did have Ohio State over Miami. You know, I didn't think Ohio State's offensive line would get that dominated. I mean, look, there was a question mark going into it. We know how good Mesidor and Bain are. But that was an offensive line that had only given up 11 sacks and basically gave up, you know, almost half of that 5 in one game. And they got completely dominated. And that was the one I was wrong on. I do have a side tonight, Miami Ole Miss. And, you know, again, we're cooking 61% in the regular season of the NFL. We closed it out at 61%, which any of your guys out there that are listening and gamble know 61% is a big ass number. So it's been a really good football season, and we'll see how the rest of the week goes. I'm so excited, though. I mean, as you mentioned, like, this is one of the best weekends of football in general because you got semifinal tonight, semifinal tomorrow night, doubleheader NFL playoffs, wild card weekend on Saturday, triple header Sunday, and then one final Monday night game. I mean, absolutely fantastic.
So I thought Trinidad Chambliss was so good last week. I'm like, why is he trying to get a waiver? He just needs to go to the league. I mean, your thoughts on that Ole Miss, Georgia, you know, Ole Miss, no Lane, Pete Golding looks like he's just on the level. Players are playing for him. What's your read on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. So if Pete is able to win, if Ole Miss is able to beat Miami tonight, Pete will have 3 college football playoff wins, which will put him second amongst SEC active coaches with postseason college football playoff wins in front of guys like Sark, who has 2. I mean, that's just kind of crazy when you think about it like that. Kirby's got 5, Nick Saban had 9, but, you know, as far as active guys, he's already tied with Sark. I forgot who else is there. I guess DeBoer's in there with a couple, but pretty amazing what's been going on with Ole Miss. And they're so easy to pull for now because Lane is such a piece of shit. And my friend said that, but it just makes it that much better because, you know, behind the scenes, Lane is pulling against Ole Miss. And, you know, Ole Miss, it just seems like they could never get out of their own way. You know, a team that very, very well documented, never got to an SEC championship game or has never been to an SEC championship game. And you go back to Hugh Freeze's final year, I think it was in 15, where, you know, it was 4th and like 36 for Arkansas. And Hunter Henry, the tight end, just throws it over his head and it bounces perfectly to Alex Collins, who takes it 36 yards and they score and win the game. And all they had to do was, you know, Ole Miss just had to win that game, and they're in Atlanta. So they've always been jinxed. And, you know, for a fan base, and I said this earlier because we had Dan Orlowski on, and he was talking about he was calling a game just 3 years ago in Bloomington between Penn State and Indiana. And he said before the game kicked, literally there was 5,000 people in the stand. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that. I brought up the fact that, you know, Indiana, it's a great story right now. And I was amongst a ton of Indiana fans in California this past week. But it's not like a lot of those fans earned where they are because they weren't even going to the games. Ole Miss fans have been passionate, you know, dedicated fans going to the Grove. And maybe they left some of those games early. But you kind of feel for some of those fan bases that have never tasted this. And this is Ole Miss's most important game in their program history tonight. This is Mario Cristobal's most important game as a head coach on the Miami side, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, when you look at this Miami team, Lance, I mean, not many people saw that Ohio State game coming. You saw the line in that, but just Ruben Bain, Akeem Mesidor, that defense has really turned it up. Carson Beck is just playing smart enough to allow the defense to make the most noise for Miami, and Mario Cristobal hasn't screwed anything up. Can they keep that up tonight?
You know, it's a fascinating question, Zay, because I think so many people are waiting on one of those things to happen. I think more so in the Cristobal camp, because when you start to look at Carson Beck a couple of years ago, I thought going into his sophomore or redshirt sophomore season, final season at Georgia, I thought he was going to be the number 1 overall pick in last May's draft. Obviously got hurt against Texas in that SEC championship game, transfers out. but that guy is 15-3 against ranked teams as a starting quarterback. That's pretty incredible. Bain has got 63 quarterback pressures, which is the third most in the FBS. You look at Messidor, he's got 10.5 sacks, leading the ACC in that category. Mark Fletcher is one of the more underrated running backs in all of college football. You saw what he did against Texas A&M. So it's just like all come together for Miami. And after losing to SMU to absorb that second loss, they've won 6 consecutive games, which is kind of crazy. That is the longest current win streak right now, active win streak in the FBS. But over those 6 games, Carson Beck's only thrown 1 pick. So they're protecting the football. As you said, he's doing just enough, and that defense is carrying them. But on the other side, there's something, as good as Miami's playing right now, there's something about Ole Miss and this chemistry where they're all playing together, and it's like us against the world. And it's been a lot of fun to watch. And Chambliss, a guy that Lane Kiffin openly admitted early in the season that he signed this guy to be a quality backup out of Ferris State, and what he has done. And Chip, to your point, like if he came out this year, really, like I don't know what the measurables are, but I've heard a comp to Russell Wilson, which when you watch him, that makes a lot of sense. He throws a nice deep ball. His escapability is next level. You saw it against Georgia, fully on display. But I think Chambliss could be the third quarterback taken off the board if he was to go. I assume he's going to get the waiver passed, and I think he'll be back at Ole Miss. We'll see what happens there, but he has been fabulous to watch. Listening to him, he says all the right things. Pete Golding says all the right things. Easy to pull for Ole Miss right now, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, typically when you have teams that are close in terms of talent, you go with the better quarterback. And to me, the better quarterback is Chambliss because he can do more.
I don't disagree with that. And I tend to look at, headsets and quarterbacks. Pete Golding's, was just one of my clients' local butcher shop picking up a couple of steaks for the game tonight. And he's like, did you ever think 4 years ago Pete Golding would be a head coach? And this is a narrative from a lot of Alabama fans that really didn't like Pete Golding. They didn't like him as the defensive coordinator. And it is kind of fascinating that he was kind of on the outs with Alabama fans, and now he's in the situation he is. But man, what a tremendous job that, he's done in this short amount of time. But, to your point, I typically would go quarterback and I would throw in head coach, and it's yet to be seen how good Pete Golding's going to be, but I still don't have a ton of confidence in Mario Cristobal. But Mario Cristobal is shutting a lot of people up. I mean, they are in the semifinals. They're a 3.5-point favorite tonight. If they're able to win this game, man, they're, playing for a national championship. Would be their first since 2001, which is kind of hard to believe.
Yeah. Before I ask you about Oregon and Indiana, I just want to know, how did your experience at the Rose Bowl? I know you've been plenty of times, but how did that go? Clearly, Bama getting curb stomped. Ty Simpson enters the draft. Just your thoughts on how Alabama ended the season, Ty Simpson going off to the NFL, and everything that came with the end of the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, Zay, I kind of agreed. And by the way, I was in a local bar downtown Pasadena by the time the comments came out from Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler. I left when it was 10-0 in the second quarter, where there was a meat of the second quarter to go. I was ready to get the hell out of there because that was my 4th trip to the Rose Bowl. Chip, I know you've been. It's a shithole, and I'm not like over exaggerating. It's just there's something cool about standing in the stands and seeing the San Gabriel Mountains and looking at that field and knowing what's at stake. But the whole venue, the concessions are shitty. The everybody involved in that whole operation, nobody knows what's going on. And, prime example, we get there 3 hours early because I was doing man on the street interviews with a bunch of Indiana fans, some Bama fans. It literally was 10 or 15 to 1 Indiana fans, and I'm not exaggerating. But my other guys went in to do pregame and postgame stuff. So they were in the stadium early. We got there 3 hours before to roam the parking lot. And so we pull in and we had an A parking pass. Well, dude tells us you got to go up here, take a left at Rosemont. It's over here. So we wait in all this traffic, like an hour. We get there and they're like, dude, it's all the way back on the other side. And I'm just like, nobody knows what the hell is going on here. Very, very frustrating. They were letting fireworks go off from this tailgate right behind the main bathroom on the front gate. And like when they immediately went off, I was like, shit, man, we're having a drive-by or something. Everybody was completely spooked. And they just continue to let these fireworks periodically go off from a random tailgate. Like, nobody knew what was going on there. It's a cool experience. One time, I will never, unless the Rams have a Super Bowl situation in the Rose Bowl, I will never go to a Rose Bowl again. I can guarantee you that. Indiana fans, obviously starved for something good to happen to them. A little arrogant for a fan base that's never done anything, because everyone I talked to, and probably a little alcohol involved with this, they were like, we're going to whip Alabama's ass. And they did, to their credit. They absolutely did. But, it rained the whole time we were out there. It was in the low 60s the whole time. The weather wasn't ideal. But, it was fun. The Rams won. I got to go back to SoFi for the second time this year. And so that was a lot of fun. I ate well. I met some really interesting people. It was a fun experience, but I'm glad to be home.
Okay, so now you look at it and you've got, Indiana and Oregon. Indiana went out to Oregon and won by 10. This is a rematch. What do you think of that game?
It's a really difficult game to handicap because, as you guys know, and it's well documented, that, you play a team a second time in a season, it's really difficult to beat them. I did think that they kind of manhandled, Oregon when they played in Autzen. And, outside of the pick six that Mendoza threw in the early fourth quarter, that game, it was all Oregon. And it was all Indiana. It was all Indiana's defense. Completely shut down Oregon, forced a couple of turnovers. 5 sacks on Dante Moore. I think Indiana's the best team in college football. Now, again, beating Oregon for a second time with that Oregon defense is going to be really, really difficult. If Dante Moore is on, they've got a great shot. Sadiq, the tight end, to me, has got to be more involved. They rely way too much on Malik Benson, his big play ability. Davison, a guy that's got 15 rushing touchdowns, is out for Oregon. I think it's going to come down to up front, and Indiana has been so dominant on both sides of the ball. But again, the number's 3.5 right now. I haven't figured out which direction I'm going to go. Both of these semifinal games are so evenly matched. And it's just amazing. Like, if I would have told you guys when I was doing the show with you a couple of years ago, hey man, in January of 26, we're going to have Ole Miss playing Indiana for the national championship, you guys would have been like, you are out of your mind. But we're literally, a game away from, or 2 games away from that happening. But I haven't made my mind up right now. I do think Indiana's the best team. I think Kirk Cignetti, I think you can make an argument right now in today's NIL and transfer portal. He's the best coach in football. No disrespect to Kirby Smart and his multiple national championships, but Kirk Cignetti's just making it look easy. 14-0 right now, and the way they whipped the hell out of Alabama. Again, that was embarrassing. And it was just, it seemed like, minutes ago, Alabama was dominating their opponents with Nick Saban. And I think Kalen DeBoer's a hell of a coach, but that was a mismatch. And it's just, it's so amazing that Indiana's where they are and teams like Alabama are where they are. Not a bad season. I gave Alabama a solid B on getting to the quarterfinals and playing for the SEC championship and winning a college football playoff game. But, Indiana, obviously, light years ahead right now.
Yeah. So you give them a B. What are Alabama fans saying about how the season ended? Because we know the expectations. When Saban left, the expectations very unrealistic. It's like that with a lot of fan bases around college football. But still, a lot of adversity this year, a lot of injuries. The Ryan Williams thing, that was out of the blue. Nobody expected him to be that bad. What are people saying about Alabama for the end of this season, Lance, and going into next season?
It was the worst way you could lose a game. And I go back last year, they were 9-3 of the regular season. They were the last team out. SMU gets in, they're out. Alabama fans, once they digested it, I think they thought it was a C. Like, how in the hell did we go 9-4? Like, in 17 years under Nick Saban, we only lost more than 4 games one time. So I think Alabama fans were really kind of riding the fence to see what happened this year. And there was obviously the expectation that Alabama could win a championship. And I think for, moments this season, I think Alabama fans were happy. And then there were moments they weren't. After Florida State, good majority of Alabama fans were like, Caleb Moore's not the guy. Then they go on that run, and then people are like, okay, maybe he is the guy. And then they turn around and, they played like they did against Oklahoma, and they lost that game, and that was kind of a head scratcher. And then after the SEC championship game, I think Alabama fans were extremely upset. But then you get to a college football playoff, you reset, you go on the road in the rematch, you beat Oklahoma. And I think at that point, Alabama fans were like, okay, if you take all the bias out and you just look at the facts, you go from 9 wins to 10 wins from year 1 to year 2. You go from not playing in an SEC championship game to playing for a conference championship and being technically the 1 seed. You get to a college football playoff in year 2 and you win a game. So those are definitely steps in the right direction. So there is progression, and I don't think you can deny that. But once you got to that stage against Indiana, where I think Alabama fans still couldn't believe, how in the hell are we a 7-point underdog to Indiana? And then once they saw it play out and they got completely curb stomped, now I think Alabama fans are back to I don't know if DeBoer's the guy. DeBoer seems soft. They can't run the football. The offensive line played like shit. I don't know if he's ever going to win a championship. That's what Alabama fans are saying. And I've even heard Bama fans saying, hey, man, if he loses 3 or 4 games next year, he's gone. I don't think that's the case at all. But again, I think we're right back to the spot we were last year, to answer your question, where Alabama fans, they just kind of that shrug emoji. They don't really know about DeBoer.
Yeah. And now you've got the transfer portal open. Bama's lost 19 players. They've signed 5. They're going through what Texas is going through. Zay and I were talking about it. The programs that have been recruiting at a high level for 4, 5, 6 years, it's harder and harder to retain your second and third team players. So people are coming for them. They know they're talented. They're going to offer them more than what Bama and Texas can offer them. But what's your sense of how Bama's looking in the portal?
Yeah, I think they're okay. I think the problem, and I had this discussion with my Butcher friend a couple of minutes ago, we were talking about Mark Cuban and the commitment he's going to make to Indiana football now. Alabama doesn't have that guy. They don't have a Cody Campbell. They don't have a Phil Knight. They just don't have that in their back pocket. What they have is a really big, passionate fan base. But, fan bases and I ran into this Florida alum in LA, and we were having a great conversation, and he's a big Rams guy, but he's also, a big Florida backer. And he's like, man, I'm just getting sick. They judge us as alum, especially when we have money, and this guy has a ton of money. He's like, by how much money we give to the program. And I don't know anything about John Summerall. And I was trying to tell him, I think he's going to be really good, but I thought Brian Kelly would be really good at LSU. So what the hell do I know? And he's like, man, I'm just sick of giving, the tiers they give me are low end 500,000 a year, and it just goes up. So it gets frustrating for fan bases if you don't have that guy that's just got a ton of money that wants to bury it different places to continue to give your hard-earned money for a product that's losing 3 or 4 games. Yeah. So Alabama, I know some guys that are involved with the collective. They do a really, really good job. They pump out content. They try to be a little different from some of the other collectives. But when you don't have that alpha that you can go to that can stroke a check at any minute, it gets difficult going back to the same wells over and over again when you're not, printing out championships. So I don't know. I think we're in a completely different world. I think next year, much like last year when, you had SMU in the college football playoff, and, this year you look around and you're like, Ole Miss or Miami's going to be playing for a national championship. I think every year you're going to have a couple of different teams that pop up because they're going to hit the portal right. And I think it's impossible to keep your players. There's zero loyalty now in college football. If somebody can make $1 million more to go somewhere else, they don't care about what the jersey says. And that's unfortunate. It's exciting for what we do for a living because, talking about Brendan Sorsby getting $5 million, that's sensational. But for, the diehard football fans and the diehard programs, it's just never going to be the same. But at the same time, we finally get what the NFL's got, and it's a lot of parity. And the 4 teams we've got right now, again, the last team to win a national championship was Miami, and it was a quarter of a century ago. And the other teams, Oregon's never won one, Indiana's never won one. I really don't count Ole Misses because, it was back in '62 and it wasn't an AP, it wasn't a UPI. And I don't know, it's a different world.
What do you think about? You got any upset picks for the NFL playoff weekend?
I hope not the Panthers. We'll see how the Rams play. They've already gotten beat one time in Charlotte earlier this year as 10-point favorites. The AFC is wide open. The NFC, I would be really shocked if it's not the Rams, Seattle. I think Philadelphia with that defense can still get it done. That was one of the reasons that I had to go to SoFi, and I was like, we cannot lose to the Cardinals because I don't want to be the 6th seed and have to go to Philadelphia. And now San Francisco's in that spot, and they're a 4.5-point underdog. So I think power probably will play out in the NFC. AFC, I've got no idea because realistically, the hottest team is Jacksonville, and they're a 1.5-point underdog to Josh Allen in Buffalo. And this is that year, like, there's no Patrick Mahomes, there's no Lamar Jackson, there's no Joe Burrow. Like, if Josh Allen, if you would have said that to a Bills fan or Josh Allen before the season started, like, you're going fresh into the AFC playoffs, you're far and away the best quarterback. I mean, this should be their year, but they're not as good as Jacksonville. But I think Buffalo's a good chance of winning that game just because of Josh Allen. AFC is wide open. I think the only team in the AFC that probably can't get it done is Pittsburgh. But I don't see any massive upsets out there. But, the only big number this weekend is the Rams.
Yeah. Well, tell everybody what's going on at lanceslock.com.
Yeah, look, so this week in college hoops, we are 7-3.
Let's go.
We are 5-1 again in the college football playoffs. We've got a side up tonight with Miami and Ole Miss. Free play every single day. We've got 3 college basketball plays up as well. There's a free play up at lanceslock.com. 61% to close out the NFL regular season. We're going to roll in the postseason. Can't wait for it. Jump on board with us. You can buy daily package. You can buy monthly, weekly, whatever you want. lanceslock.com.
LT, you're the best. I can't wait to talk about all this with you next week.
Okay, real quick, though. Who do you guys have winning these 2 games? I'm just interested.
I'm going Ole Miss. I'm going the better quarterback, and I'm going Indiana.
Okay, Zay?
I got Miami, Indiana.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, we'll regroup next week, and we'll talk it out.
Okay.
Appreciate you, LT.
Appreciate you, LT.
Enjoy the games.
You too,
Hey,
man.
we go from one blockbuster guest to another. Let's go to Mobile, Alabama. Check in with the executive director of the Senior Bowl, the Panini Senior Bowl, the one and only Drew Fabianich.
Good round, Zay. What's up, dude?
What's going on?
Drew?
Hey, we're actually completely full.
Congrats, man.
Yeah, I was told by the operation guy that's been here for a while that there's never been over 100 players acceptance before January 1, and we had 125 on January 1.
Wow.
Yeah. And you'll see on the Senior Bowl Twitter, not mine, I mean Senior Bowl X, there was a group of juniors that had their papers cleared today, so there'll be a large group of juniors popping, on our Senior Bowl X. And there's still more that have not cleared that we can't release yet, but we're at our 140 right now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you got a sterling cast of players. And so even if you had a player declare something, you don't have any room for them.
Not really. I could possibly squeeze in 3 or 4 if I had to. I'm probably going to lose 3 or 4 anyway, by the time the game gets around, whether it's training hamstrings or, some idiot agent thinking that this isn't as important as it should be. Yes. And I did say that yesterday. Yeah. Yeah. I've had some doozy conversations now. I mean, there's one guy, well, I got first round grades on this guy. Well, I said, there ain't a damn soul in the NFL's got a first round grade on your player, and, he doesn't need to come. I said, okay. I said, just understand. I said, when day 1's over, I said, the night that's over with, I'm going to be the first son of a bitch that text you, I told you so. Yeah. And I even asked him, I said, how many times have I been wrong? He said, well, he said, never. And I go, well, not wrong on this one, but you're going to listen to area scouts telling you that he got first round grades. So you go right ahead. Got one that was like a fifth rounder that didn't think he needed the game. Didn't think he needed the game.
It's crazy.
And I went, okay. I was like, first of all, your agent should be fired for malpractice. I said, and then you're not that smart or you just don't know ball. So no, it's been good. It really has. I mean, it's I got my hands full, got a lot of hats, but man, it's good roster. I mean, good roster, really is.
Well, and real quick, breaking news, Texas has gotten a commitment from LSU defensive tackle Zion Williams. This guy's a little bit more of a developmental guy, 6'4", 360. We'll come back to that, but Will Muschamp putting together.
Why don't you just say what you just said again and tell me he's developmental what? I
know, 6'4", 360.
Okay, he's a developmental nose tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean he's an E2 guy. I mean, they probably just need some E2 guys. I mean, that's fine, but I mean, I don't remember the kid, and I didn't do underclassmen there or anything like that either. Though, so.
No, he's really he's got 3 years of eligibility.
Yeah. Maybe he needs to lean up a little bit.
Yeah. They signed a kid named Ian Gaffard from Arkansas, who's 6'5", 387.
Yep.
And can move.
Yeah, well, they're trying to get big bodies. Yeah. I mean, Will Muschamp gets it. I mean, he does. I mean, you can't stop the run without big bodies. You can't stop the run without eating too. So, yeah.
Well, go ahead, Zay.
Yeah, Drew, I want to ask you about some of the guys that you got in the Panini Senior Bowl that are playing tonight and tomorrow. And one name that just screams out to me is Jacoby Thomas of Miami, the safety. He was laying the wood last week at the Cotton Bowl. A lot of guys from Ohio State that are also big-time prospects. They weren't catching the ball, and they were wondering where Jacoby Thomas was. Talk about him a little bit and what you like about him.
I like a lot about him. He shows range. He can go red line to red line. He's a good open field tackler. Good in man, not great in man, but very good in zone. I'm more worried about if they go to the national championship game, I may lose all 4 of my Miami defensive players. And I've got 4. I can't announce some of them, but I've got 4. So it is what it is. I mean, I wish him all the best, and I just know that it'd be a huge dent, in my roster,
Yeah.
But again, that's just the way this schedule is broken down. The calendar's broken down. This has got to change. I mean, way too long for the players. I mean, I'm with Dan Lanning. This should be over with January 1. It should be. I mean, how long did those teams sit there? Before they went to that the second round, was it 4 weeks before they played?
It was a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, why?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, the NFL does it every week, right? I mean, let's go. I mean, bump the season up. Bam, 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 bam. Let's go. 2 buys. I mean, why is this so difficult? And then you think about it. All it's about is about the damn money.
Yeah.
That's all it's about. Let's make sure these bowl games, those bowl sites, make sure they all sell out. Well, hell, they're going to sell out anyway. I mean, just do it in a week. Don't matter. I mean, why are we going from that to what was it, 6 days or 7 days till tonight?
Right.
Right?
Then it gets accelerated and
yeah. I mean, and again, I'm not saying just because of the game, because of my game, but the guys that play in the national championship game is 1 week. And if they're beat up, they're not coming here. They're not coming here. And I get that. Now if they do come down here and they've been through that, they're warriors. You know what I mean? That's going to prove a lot to the NFL clubs, because again, I've said this a long time, and Chip's heard me say this. If you don't love to play, you're not going to last in the NFL for very long. You're not. Because if you just like to play, I mean, it's hard to be successful. It just is. So, didn't mean to digress. I mean, sorry. Like
No, you won't.
No, I mean,
I'm gonna get off the grass guy today.
hey, we love that. I'm looking at the, we're in the portal. I mean, we're right in the heart of it here. And you having been a GM for a couple of programs at the highest level at Auburn and West Virginia, you see, Texas has a bunch of players going into the portal. So does Alabama. The programs that have recruited at a high level for a long time, they can't hold on to everybody.
No.
And you're recruiting at, 4 stars players who will start at other programs immediately. And this is just the way of the world, isn't it, Drew?
Yeah, and the problem is though that they're losing out on the development because they're losing time. And I mean, and what I mean by that is they're missing off-season programs. They're missing the weight training. They're missing the same person that's going to develop them. I mean, when you watch ball now, I mean, the offensive line is one of the most, just bad. I mean, they're not playing very good, and there ain't many that are, because there's no cohesion. There's no, and guys, the next guy up is not a very good player. And it used to be next guy up, not that big of a fall off. I mean, if, and I'm using Alabama as an example. I mean, it was like, when you went in there, it was like, okay, there's a first round running back. Okay, who's the next one? Well, yeah, he's going to play for just 2 years, right? But he's the next first rounder. The offensive line was like, okay, this guy's a 1-year starter, and he ends up playing in the NFL because he stayed there, developed, got bigger, got stronger, got better technique. He didn't lose time. He did, and again, he goes into his senior year. I mean, there are plenty of guys at Alabama that played 1 year and ended up playing in the NFL. Well, you watch some of these jokers now. I mean, they're underdeveloped. The technique is not very good. I mean, the flexibility is not very good. I mean, I've seen some of the worst offensive line play I've seen in 10 years. And I'm going like, the reason why is that, like you said, oh, I'm a 5-star guy and I don't play as a freshman. I'm mad, so I'm going to transfer. Okay, guess what? You're underdeveloped. You're not ready to play. If you're ready to play, you start as a freshman. If you're not, wait your turn. Develop. Because I can just tell you the offensive line coaches in the NFL are going like, oh, gosh, we got to start from ground zero on some of these dudes. I mean, seriously, it's not very good. And again, it's probably not going to change shit because, these kids have no patience. They don't fight through any adversity whatsoever. It's like, oh gosh, coach yelled at me, deuces. Hey, I'm not playing, deuces. It's just like, and the other problem is these NIL agents, all they are street agents, and all they're doing is shopping the player to every single damn university there is. Hey, I got a client, that if he got in the portal, he'd be really interested in you. What would you offer him? Well, nothing, because he's not in the portal and I'm not talking to you. But so many of them do. And then they go back and they extort their other program. And if they don't get the money they want, then they leave, because put it this way, to them, $60,000 is a lot of money, but, and it is, don't get me wrong. But what if you stuck around and developed and, and actually made generational money, by going to the NFL? It's a sad state. Not going to change anytime soon. I'd love to help it along because I've seen how bad it is and gone through it. And the other piece of it is parents. They are absolutely awful. Awful. And I used to sit there and the first time that one of the parents says, well, coach, this isn't about the money. As soon as they say that, it's about the money. I'm going like, whatever. Just go to the highest bidder. you know? And here's the other piece of it too, Chip. Told you this. If one of them extorts you, right, you're going to get 6 more in the door within the next day. 6 more. Promise you.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. But yeah, you're right. It's the state of it, and it's not going to get any better anytime soon.
How would you describe the GM role in college football? Is it the hardest job? Is it the?
It depends. It depends who you're working for. It depends on what you're doing, because I think a lot of it, quote, the GM title is really just a glorified high school recruiter. They're just giving them a little extra money. That's why they're giving them the GM title. But to say that you're managing the roster, you're managing the money, you're managing the recruiting, you're managing the scouting, I don't think there's a lot of dudes who really do all that. I don't. And that's what you do as a GM in the NFL. You manage all of it. And you also manage operations too. So that's why it's called a general manager. Well, like I said, a lot of these are glorified high school recruiters. And that's all well and good. That's fine. But like I said, it depends. It's school by school. It's head coach by head coach. It's how comfortable the head coach is turning over, the reins of it, because there's so many dudes that, are head coaches that they want total control of everything. Well, if you do that, then you slow down the entire process, because I never could wait for the head coach for me to offer a guy in the transfer portal, because if I waited on their ass when they're out recruiting, then it takes 3 days. And by 3 days is 3 weeks in the transfer portal, and you may never even get a visit. So again, it does depend on who it is, Chip. I mean, it really does. And the guys I was with, I mean, they were really comfortable with what I did and what my skill set was. And I told them, I said, why don't you just worry about coaching ball? I'll worry about everything else. Well, the rest of these guys are worried about coaching ball, but they're also worried about everything else. And they're worried about, hey, what's this guy making over here? And how can we keep? No. Don't worry about that. I got it. We're good. So it just depends.
Yeah. Well, Drew, those are obviously great points. I ask you this, with everything that you just said, as a general manager and a head coach at a big-time blue blood program, what's the smartest way to go about it in this era of college football?
I still think it's 60% high school kids, and try to keep them and try to keep developing them, but also be very transparent with them and say, this is what a 4th team left tackle makes. This is what the 3rd tackle, this is what the 2nd, this is what the starter makes. This is what you could possibly make in the end, right? Well, then there's no, hey, such and such makes more than me and I'm better than him. Well, guess what? The left tackle makes more than the right tackle, right? Understand that day one, okay? The 2-spot guard center going to make more than the 1-spot center. The receiver is going to make more than the tight end. What I'm saying is that if you let the locker room talk, it's bullshit, because they're all going, I make more than you do, right? And then they get pissed off and they come upstairs and go, I want to make this. Well, you're not going to make that, because this is what he just told you is not true. You want to see what he makes? Here's what he makes right here, right? And show it to him, show it to him, because if you don't show it to him, it's not going to work. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So again, and then if you can't keep them, I think the turnover that you cause, if you flip 71, 72 players off of your roster, there's no foundation pieces on your team. There's not. And then who's going to be the leaders? Who's going to have your culture? Who's going to understand what you want? And again, you've got to have a base and a foundation to work with. And I think that's your high school recruiting. And I think that's where you start building. You got to treat the portal as, I've got to fix a mistake, because everybody makes mistakes, and I'll give you my perfect example. I had a safety coach. I said, hey, did you watch the kid from Notre Dame and the kid from Tennessee Tech? He goes, no. He said, but I'll take the guy from Notre Dame. I said, why? He said, because he's at Notre Dame. I said, so what? I said, the kid at Tennessee Tech's better than him. I said, guess what? Notre Dame makes mistakes too, but that's the types of things that I'm talking about. I mean,
how do you know that a guy's a dog. Like,
I mean,
because you got your transfer portal recruiting.
You don't. That's just it. I mean, you hopefully know somebody that was on that staff that you can at least talk to, and hopefully there's not a character issue. The other piece of it is that when I brought them in, they also had to get a medical. If they didn't want to get a medical, I would not sign them, because if you sign one that's busted up, you don't know he's busted up, and then all of a sudden he comes in and, oh, he needs shoulder surgery. Then you just wasted a whole year of money, right? Whole year. So again, do I know their dogs? No, but I can actually watch the way they play on tape. And again, does that help? Yes. If he's a hair on fire guy, great. He plays hard, great. I mean, at least you can tell he's competitive. You know, I mean, you can't. I mean, you're recruiting in a 24-hour period. I mean, you're gonna make mistakes. And all these guys that say, "Oh, well, you know, we don't make mistakes." Yes, you do. I mean, I did. You know, I'm not 100% on anything. Nothing. You know. So guess what? Just learn from it. I mean, it's too risky for me to flip entire rosters like some of these guys are trying to do. And then when they flip them and then they lose the next class, well, it's just like the old JC fixed. When you used to try to JC fix something when you're getting ready to get your ass fired, well, if you did that and it worked, well, you're going to have to do the same damn thing the next year, because you're going to lose the whole damn class again. And that's what's wrong with the portal, that if you take too many one-year guys, you're just redoing the whole damn thing again. You know, you need to get some 3-year guys. You need to get some 2-year guys. You got to mix it up. I mean, and that's where the roster management comes into it, you know, because, you know, and one of the schools flipped like 71 guys, right? Well, they're flipping 51 of them again. That's their fault. You know,
and it's getting more expensive to do it.
Yes. Now, it won't be as expensive as it was with the second portal, because the second portal was really expensive because it was Panicville, I called it, because they had to have that dude in the spring, because obviously they had lost somebody in that spring and there was no other way of getting somebody. So they'd overpay. They'd overpay for guys. And that's because you didn't manage your roster very well. You didn't. You didn't have any backup depth. You didn't have anything that would help you. So, yeah.
Your thoughts on tonight's game, Ole Miss versus Miami, Trinidad Chambliss, what he did against Georgia, absolutely impressive. And that defense with Miami, what they've been doing the first 2 rounds, the playoff, also impressive. Your thoughts on this game?
If Ole Miss can run the football like they did against Georgia, they have a chance. If Miami can run the football and play action pass, they have a chance. If Miami cannot run the football, they will lose. You know, bottom line. And the worst thing about playing Ole Miss is you got to defend all 11. And being a defensive coordinator, you hate having to defend that damn quarterback too. You know, when you know he's in the pocket, you know you can contain him, and you can play a hell of a lot of different coverages. You can mess with him more. But then when all of a sudden you got to spy 1 or 2 guys for that joker and those pass rush lanes open up, I mean, it makes it difficult. I don't think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. Ole Miss is playing better defense than they have in a while. You know, I was surprised they beat Georgia. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I thought Georgia was hitting on all cylinders, you know, both sides of the ball. And, you know, they played really good defense, because you watched them against like Arkansas early. I mean, they weren't very good. And they kind of grew up. They got older, they got more experienced and everything else. And, you know, they played faster. So I would say it's a 3-point game probably. And I kind of lean towards Miami just because better defense, you know, but man, I think it's going to be a good ball game. I really do.
Well, and then Indiana versus Oregon.
Too many weapons. I think playing the team twice, I don't think goes Indiana's way.
So you like Oregon?
I do. And what they did to Texas Tech was damn impressive. I mean, damn impressive. They played really well on defense, and I think they're they're hitting their stride too at the right time. I think they're getting hot at the right time. Quarterback has a lot of weapons. I mean, a lot. And when those receivers are healthy, man, they're really good. I mean, on offense. So, I mean, I think it's going to be Oregon. I do.
Yeah.
I think it's probably going to be Oregon and Miami, which doesn't. I hate to be selfish, but it doesn't help me one bit. But I'm rooting for them all, because we could lose 5 guys from Oregon, we could lose 6 guys from Miami. Could. But then again, if they show up and play, wow, the league's going to go Warriors. If they show up a week later down here.
You got Le'Veon Moss coming to your game. What do you like about him, and what, as a NFL, former NFL national scout, who's that?
Derek Brooks.
How about that?
What?
How about that?
No, that's a stunt. Derek Brooks.
When you got gold jackets calling you, that's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
He also played in the Senior Bowl. Yeah.
Hey, is he being honored?
He is coming anyway, and he will probably get honored in some way. Just since I've been on, I've had 5 texts and 4 calls already.
Well, we appreciate you taking some time for us. You know what I mean?
What's funny is, I was clean for like 2 hours before y'all. I was going like,
and now you're getting hammered.
Like, bam.
That's how it always works.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Bam. Yeah.
Le'Veon Moss and the running backs in your game,
good group.
Yeah, talk about what stands out about these guys and what NFL ingredients they have.
Well, I think all of them are. Again, I kind of did. I always call it not 32 flavors, but 2 flavors. I've got some, change of pace backs, along with pounders and big backs. Because I always want to have big back. I always want to have change of pace guy. I always want to have a guy who can do both. And my favorite, and I'm not going to call him little. My favorite smaller back is Coleman from Washington, and he is not small, and he is powerful. Jamari Taylor, the one that transfers from North Carolina Central to Virginia. Hard tackle. Great feet, good balance through side contact. Le'Veon's, going to be healthy, by the time he gets to us. He was not healthy in the last game. He's probably 85%. It'll be nice to see what he does again, because when he's healthy, he could be a number 1 back. He could. It's just going to take him, a little bit of time. Faison, good back. We got a good group. We really do. The boys from Penn State, we got both of them. Yeah. We got Singleton and, Katron. Great kind of, big giant pounder and a kind of a complete back. It's a good group. It really is. Really pleased with that group. Really pleased with a lot of them. The one that's, through the roof is the defensive end edge rushers. We got some just straight out fire breathers, which is going to be good, because it'll attract the tackles, because the tackles will want to try to show out against the David Baileys and the Cassius Howells and the TJ Parkers of the world, and those Derek Brown, Zion Young. Dude, we got dudes. Go on seniorbowl.com, look at the accepted invites, and know that there's 20 more juniors that we cannot list yet. So, we're loaded for bear right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you told us a couple of weeks ago you couldn't even send an invite to Ethan Burke because you have so many edge rushers before him, that told Chip and I a lot, because we think Ethan Burke could play a little bit.
Yeah, he can. He can. But again, I have to – it's my judgment. It's on me for this roster, and I got to put the 140 best dudes out there, right? And again, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. Really good player. Guess what? We got some medical guys to go down, or we got some guys that get hurt in training. Yeah, I'll be calling him up. But, for right now, I can't.
Yeah, we get it. We get it.
Yeah.
Here's a question from Dave, who wants to know if you've looked at Arizona State running back Raleek Brown.
No, I hadn't. I'm going to be honest with you. I'd remember if I did. If he's even eligible, I don't know. The thing is I've got area scouts that are all over the country that do these guys during the fall too. And if they don't have a high enough grade on them, it doesn't get to me. And I'm really impressed with the group that I put together for those guys because, I mean, heck, we got over 200 years of NFL experience in scouting with my group. I mean, heck, one of them just got a job in Florida. I'll probably lose one or two more back to the league. I'll replace them again with guys that have some experience. But no, I hadn't watched a kid, and I'm never going to comment on a kid I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of Brennan Thompson, former Longhorn, then Sooner, obviously ended up with Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State, had a really good year this season. You got him coming to the game.
He can flat out fly. And, for being, smaller, okay, he's a hard cover. He really is. He's kind of got that. I used to say to Cole Beasley, he had that self-preservationist in him. He knew when to get the hell down.
Yeah.
This kid knows when the hell to get down too, but he'll blow your doors off. I'm betting he may go like 4.25. Yeah. I mean, he can go. I mean, he can really go. Telemetry numbers are really good, and I was going like, ooh. I was like, ain't many guys that can go there. Not many at all.
Yeah. What when you look at this this group, and you can't say who the coaches are yet, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Those nominations are going out right now from clubs of eliminated teams, and then the league will get with me later.
So, for fans who've never been to the Senior Bowl, tell them. I mean, Mobile. Tell them what's around and.
Damn, this is easy. This is a cleaner New Orleans. It is. I mean, trust me, it doesn't smell like vomit and urine. When you're walking downtown. I mean, it does. Come on now, you've been in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been there for Mardi Gras. You just described it.
Yeah, great food. I mean, really friendly people. Right next to the water. Where can you go to watch more draftable players at one place at one time? Nowhere. And hell, the ticket's like $25. I mean, really? I mean, where can you go for $25 and watch that? Really? I mean, the lowest ticket price I've seen for a college game is like $200 now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking about a P4, right? But no, I mean, and again, there's 2 restaurants down here, and I traveled everywhere across the country. There's 2 restaurants here in my top 10. And again, there's a reason why I gained 10 pounds since I've been here, because the food is that good. I mean, great downtown, safe. Game is where the game is at South Alabama at Hancock Whitney Stadium, and about 27,000 seats. I don't think there's a bad seat in the whole damn place. I really don't. I mean, I even went up into the corner, just to kind of see, just because I wanted to walk up and say, how bad is it? It's a really good seat. I mean, it really is. It sells out. Sold out the last 2 years. It's going to sell out again. I mean, it's worth coming down here if you're really interested in seeing the future of the NFL and seeing it quickly. Because, again, my dream of this is to have every single guy drafted out of this game. Every single one of them.
Yeah.
Now, if I got some late replacements, I still want them to be draftable too.
What's the beer joint right near the practice fields that
you're asking me about a beer joint? Come on, man.
Well, when I was covering the Cowboys, I would go in there and there's Peyton and Eli Manning in there. But I don't know.
I think it's Heroes, but I mean, Gruden goes there all the time too. It's out there by the stadium.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, put it this way. People know, I mean, my ex got, hacked because of Chip Brown. Okay. Well,
Hey, Chip Brown got hacked because I was
Well,
trying to be nice.
Well, here's the thing, Zay, because you're gonna love this. I found out in about a minute and a half. Okay, because two of my guys text me, goes, "I think you've been hacked," and I said, "Why?" And they said, "For you to be saying that you bought a pickup truck, we knew it wasn't you."
Damn.
Right? And I was like, "Nope, not doing a pickup truck."
With your newly found crypto cash.
Where's my crypto cash? And then I was giving stock tips yesterday too. Did you know that?
Oh, good.
Yeah. We're taking control of that here soon. So, know that my X account has been compromised. It will be back soon. But yeah, I just laughed through that. Yeah, we knew you wouldn't be buying a pickup truck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't
Chip
ever,
just got his account back today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, hopefully I'll get mine back pretty soon too.
Don't ever click anything in your Twitter DMs ever.
Even with the picture of Chip Brown on it, I mean, they had it wired, dude. Had it wired, And I wanted to text you, and I wanted to say, "What the hell is this, dude?"
Oh, trust me.
And I should have.
I've gotten calls. Thank God Mark Henry called and said,
I was trying to be nice about it, dude. I mean, I was going like, "Yeah, hell yeah, I'll help you out." I was like, "Damn, I just got screwed."
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, screwed. Yeah.
I
mean, we had to change the passwords on everything on the other account too, on the Senior Bowl account and everything. It's been a pain in the ass, dude. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, it's awful. It's
So,
awful.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Well, hey,
right.
I gotta call Derek Brooks.
I know
back.
you got to call Derek Brooks back.
Okay.
But who's the best team who's the best team in the NFL right now?
Ooh. God, probably Jacksonville. Yeah. Probably Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I know.
I got the Houston Texans in the Super Bowl.
I don't think they're good enough offensively.
Yeah.
No, they're good enough defensively.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're good enough offensively. So.
Well, tell Derek Brooks we said hey.
I will, partners. All right. Talk to you soon.
All right.
See y'all
next week. There he is. Drew Fabianich, the executive director of the Panini Senior Bowl. We love talking to Drew. He's got a great cast in his game. Let's get a couple of mentions and then we'll get to the chip shot. Hey, how about in 2026 we get healthy? We get healthy the Humann way. Humann with two N's. The science-backed formulas of Humann are advanced in ways that they're unlike any supplements you've ever had. They are so sophisticated. When I hold up the cholesterol health daily, this is to accentuate your good cholesterol. These are not just fish pills. This is a formula that's going to accentuate the good cholesterol that we need. The cardiovascular health daily, which is going to help with blood flow. And, that's something that we absolutely need, help with your blood pressure. How about the metabolic health daily, which is going to help with your blood sugar, and weight management, blood sugar, so that you're not getting adult onset diabetes. These formulas, born from the University of Texas Health Science Center. That's part of the reason I think it's so cool, is that this is Texas's version of Gatorade, except it's the most sophisticated supplements you can take. They're beet-based. Super Beet Heart Chews are the number one recommended by cardiologists. And you take one of these Super Beets Heart Chews a day like I do, it's going to help you regulate your blood pressure 2 times more effectively than with just diet and exercise alone. And I always talk about the turmeric chews because anti-inflammation, healthy anti-inflammation. Where does the pain come from after we work out? Inflammation. These turmeric chews are money. I say go to humann.com/TSU. Load up on everything I just showed you. You're going to get 20% off your first order if you use the promo code TSU. And you got a 90-day money-back guarantee. So load up. Get multiple orders of the cardiovascular health daily, the cholesterol health daily, and the metabolic health daily, and of course the Super Beats Heart Chews. Just go to Humann with 2Ns.com/TSU. Use the promo code TSU. Cover 3. What a great spot to be watching the Miami Hurricanes and the Ole Miss Rebels tonight. Grab some friends, say, hey, I'll meet you over at Cover 3 and enjoy. You got happy hour every day from 3:30 to 6:30. 3:30 to close on Mondays. Enjoy the incredible menu, the great service, the Sean Adams prime rib sandwich, the brick chicken and mac and cheese, the Chop House burger. During happy hour, the $7 social hour menu, which has got the firecracker shrimp on it. Yeah. Cover 3, great spot. Cover 3 Anderson, Cover 3 Round Rock. And for my guys who are snoring, you've got the see it right there. Sleep Cycle Center of Austin, our man, Dr. Chad Denman, who's dedicated his life to treating sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is a lack of oxygen while you sleep. Snoring is often an indicator, but there's also sleep apnea that is silent. That's why I say take advantage of this incredible partnership we have with Texas Sports Unfiltered and the Sleep Cycle Center. You go to sleepcyclecenters.com. Tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. They're going to take $100 off your sleep study. That sleep study, and Dr. Chad has the best technology for that sleep study to detect your level of sleep apnea. And he's got the best treatment options, from oral appliance, like I have, a mouth guard that holds my lower jaw open so I get that oxygen when I'm sleeping, to different, kinds of CPAP, to surgery. But get yourself checked out. This is not to be messed with. If you're snoring, it's more than just annoying to the person next to you. It could be the sign of a serious health issue. Go to sleepcyclecenters.com. Tell them Texas Sports Unfiltered sent you. And hey, you're ready for the big screen of your dreams. There is only one number to call in Austin, Texas. That is our man, Tom McKay, audio-visual consultations, great supporter of Texas Sports Unfiltered. I've known Tom forever, 30 years. He's put big screen TVs in 3 different houses for me in Austin. He's the best. You just call 255-8678. He's going to bring you the best price on big screens. He's going to hang it like a, portrait in a museum. Perfect. I thought I needed a 100-inch screen. He's like, no, for that wall, you need a 85-inch screen. I was like, okay. And he's going to tell you what you need, what you don't need. He can also take care of you on surveillance, electronic shades, new lighting. Just call 255-8678 or go to avconsultations.com. All right. Let's talk about the chip shot here. We got all kinds of stuff going on in the transfer portal. We've had some news today. Zion Williams. He is a 360-pound nose tackle. Younger guy, 3 years of eligibility. Who fits that, big athletic. He's from Lufkin. He hardly played this year. He played in five games, 3 years of eligibility, and he is a guy who can play. Ian Gerard has 1 year left. Zion Williams is a guy that Will Muschamp can develop, and he likes, we've been talking about it. Will Muschamp is all about the big two gappers, so that when he's playing an odd front, he's got a guy who can control two gaps, hold the point of attack against double teams, and stuff the run. Remember, Will Muschamp had, Jordan Davis, Devontae Wyatt, Jalen Carter at Georgia. Those guys helped win a national championship. Clemson, you had Christian Wilkins and Trevor Lawrence or Dexter Lawrence. So you got to have those guys. Bama has, pick one from Ashawn Robinson to, all the Marcel Darius. Texas fans remember him. You got to have those dudes to win big, to stuff the run and win big. So Texas got guys on campus today. Sounds like the Cal linebacker, Cade Uluave, is visiting. You've also got Dylan Sikorsky from Oregon State, who 6'4", 333 pounds. They're looking in the right places. And of course, the Raleek Brown commitment is huge. This is a guy who's got home run speed, great hands. He's a little thicker version of Jaden Blue. He's 5'9", 195. I like those guys. Those guys. Remember the muscle hamster, Doug Martin?
Hell yeah.
He was 5'9" and
where'd he go? Boise State?
195.
That's not. Where'd Doug Martin go?
Yeah, I think so. Good call. There's Zay winning the trivia, right? Doug Martin?
Sounds right.
Well, let's see.
Yeah,
Let's see.
Yeah.
There you go.
I remember them. He ain't have no neck.
Right.
It was all connected, head, shoulders. That's it.
Right.
I like that for my running back.
Hey, Barry Sanders is built like that, So, like those guys low to the ground with those big, thick, muscled legs, Not like my bony little knees that.
Hey, don't cut yourself some slack, state champ.
Well, back in the day.
State champ.
Back in the day.
What up, champ? By the way, how's the knee right now?
I'm still, Ella and I are going to play in the Polar Bear Big City tournament. Plays all over the city, January 16th through 18th.
Yeah.
Don't
do anything out of ordinary. Let Eleanor carry you like most of the time she does.
If anyone, so I'm getting hammered with little ads about these bamboo sleeves that you wear on your knees.
Is that Brett Favre? What is that?
No, it's different, but I don't know if it's a scam or not. If anyone's tried these bamboo sleeves for your knees, I mean, it's elaborate how they get people to post on Facebook, or they make it look like they're posting on Facebook. And I don't know if these things are
that Brett Favre, Jerry Rice. I don't know.
I've already got those.
You already got those?
Oh yeah.
Those dudes were playing sandlot football at their age. that tells me everything I need to know.
Those commercials were doing great right up until Favre got investigated for funneling money for a alleged volleyball.
I still haven't seen that 30 for 30 or Untold Netflix special. I don't know who did it, but there's something about that. I still haven't checked it out. I need to. Football season is wrapping up, but yeah, Brett Favre, man, we look at him different now.
Tonight's game, Ole Miss and Ole Miss and Miami, and I do love Miami's defense. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Ruben Bain up front.
Hakeem Mesidor is a problem too. Everybody gets Ruben Bain. Mesidor, boy, on that other side. Yeah. And then the dude that our man Drew has in the Senior Bowl, unless if they win next week or win tonight.
Jacoby Thomas.
Man. He hit Carnell Tate so damn hard, man. Carnell Tate, he didn't want to stretch for that. He heard them footsteps.
That was like that hit that Jelani McDonald put on that Michigan tight end.
Yeah.
Just like rib cracker.
Yeah, we got to bring that style back, man. Hit them the right way without forcing that laundry out.
Hey, Sean Taylor, baby. Sean Taylor.
Oh, Sean Taylor.
He was the most savage hitter I've ever seen.
Yeah, God bless his soul. That guy, he wouldn't be able to play in this era.
Ooh.
Oh. Yeah, he was so cool, man. He used to tape the face mask. His aura was just incredible. And the fact that on that national championship Miami team, he was a second string guy after Ed Reed and them. What? Like what, man? Like give me some of that Texas where your second string guy is Sean Taylor.
Right?
Like give me some of that. Like, I'm cool with that. Which I saw Texas, they're still looking for a safety, huh? Like even with Derek Williams coming back, Lonnie McDonald, you got Xavier Filsaime, Jonah Williams. You never know about Jonah Williams just because you gotta get through baseball season. But I saw that Kansas safety was on campus a couple of days ago, and
they're looking for a corner and a safety. They got the corner, Masco from Rutgers. But they wanted to add, at corner, you lose both Malik Muhammad and Jalen Gilbo. So you've got Warren Roberson, you got Kobe Black, you got Cade Phillips. But I think they wanted one more corner with some experience. You're bringing in some studs like Samari Matthews and if that kid takes off and can play as a freshman, it's more for insurance. And I think the Masco kid has ties to Mark Orfe. Orfe coached him at Rutgers. So I think that's a little bit of insurance, if you will. But yeah, Raleek Brown, I'm excited about this guy because, look, there's one Jaden Ball out there, 230 pounds, who can run by you, run through you, and can catch the ball. Well, Florida broke the bank to keep him, as they should. And now you get some of that home run speed back into the Texas offense, which it just scares the bleep out of the defense when you got a back who can catch a swing pass and go the distance. So that's what Raleek Brown brings to the table. But I'm gonna roll with Ole Miss.
Hey,
I'm gonna roll with Ole Miss tonight.
Yeah, you love yourself some Trinidaddy.
Now, remember the last time, like Michael Penix played as well as he could play against Texas. As well as he could play. He was throwing dimes everywhere, dropping them in keyholes. That was one of the best performances I've ever seen from a quarterback in a playoff or whatever, BCS champ, whatever. And then against Michigan, he wasn't as good. Texas beat him up a little bit. Michigan defense, whatever. They finally got some pass rush on that offensive line. Maybe they were a little beat up. That's the only thing that gives me a little hesitation. Because Miami's defense, they can get after you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to roll with Trinidaddy. Let's get to it right now.
I got Miami. I don't know how much better. I know I'm taking Miami's defense over Georgia's defense this year, but Georgia got some players too. So when Trinidad Chambliss is doing all that sandlot stuff, running around, running backwards, and
flipping,
just freestyle, can he do that against Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain? And them boys from Miami, Jacoby Thomas, they hitting. Scott got the pick 6 last week, and we know how well Julian Sand was taking care of the ball all season long until those last 2 games he had against Indiana and then Miami. So to force a turnover from that guy who has one of the best completion percentages in the nation. Trinidad Chambliss better be smart, man. And they're good. They're really good. Again, Pete Golden has been terrific. And I love to continue to see them stick it to Lane, even though Lane's going to be $500,000 richer every win. And maybe more. Maybe the further they get, that 500,000 turns into 750,000.
Hey,
I don't know.
We saw this in college basketball in 1989 when Bill Frieder took the Arizona State job and Bo Schembechler said, nah, we'll have a Michigan man coach Michigan. He elevates Steve Fisher, and they win the national championship.
Yeah.
And Bill Frieder never sniffed a Final Four in his coaching career. He's watching that team he put together win it all, and he's sitting there in Phoenix, Arizona, which is where these teams are tonight. But
yeah, that Michigan team had one of my favorite, most underrated players ever, Glenn Rice, man.
Glenn Rice was a sniper. God,
he was so good.
He set the scoring record that year.
Yeah.
I think it's been
like he never got credit like I think he should have. He made it to a few All-Star games, and he had his stint with Miami and Charlotte. He was really good with Charlotte, but when you're playing against in that Jordan era as a shooting guard, easily forgotten. The Mitch Richmond of the world.
He had he banged Sarah Palin, you know?
I don't know how true that is. That whole rumor, man, I don't know. Because that's a wild rumor.
I think it's true. All right, let's go to the right call.
Let's get it. Before that, though, got to give a shout out to the best car dealership in the land. That is Covert BK, family owned and operated. Been doing it for over 100 years. We love our Buick Encore GX. It's absolutely amazing. And hey, go over to Covert BK now, and they'll hook you up. New, pre-owned. They'll find something in your price range to make you feel comfortable and back on the road for the next however some years. And if you don't want to take my word for how great Covert Bee Cave is, listen to these fine folks at Covert Bee Cave.
I don't have to worry about shopping for mechanics to make sure it's done and done right. I come up here, I'm in, I'm out. They give me a loaner sometimes, and it's hassle-free.
If you have any questions, they'll go ahead and help you out and educate you. They're not just here just to sell you a vehicle. They're here to build a relationship.
They treat you like family, and then they make the experience what you want it to be, not what they want it to be.
Covert, born and raised in Austin,
where you are always treated like family.
Nobody beats a Covert deal. Not now, not ever. All right, Chef, we're going to be petty for this next 6 minutes. Couple of things I'm going to throw at you. So, Texas, they just got Zion Williams, not Zion Williamson with his horny ass, because he's back being horny once again, which this isn't that bad. Beforehand, the last one with the OnlyFans model, porn star Mariah Mills with the crazy badonkadonk that is clearly fake, like the booty don't match the thighs, which, hey, I'm all for plastic surgery. If you want to better your body to make you feel better, good for you. I ain't knocking that, but Zion, you were wilding for getting with that. Now, Zion has gotten exposed once again from a new Instagram model or something that videotaped her being at his house. Like, it looks like a New Orleans condo that she was in, and she's like filming Zion messing with the fireplace. And then after, as you can see here in this photo, she's, looking out and the water and stuff in New Orleans. There's Zion. He's fixing the fireplace. She's talking to him there. As you see below, there is a transaction from Zion who sent her $2,000. So she put all his business out there. That is her, by the way. Yeah, that's her. So Zion, this isn't even that bad. Like, there's a lot of NBA players doing this. I don't think what I'm looking at here is worth $2,000. Like we talking about the transfer portal and what these players are worth. I don't know if this girl is a $2,000 transaction, but hey, Zion, if she makes you feel that good where you think she deserves that, best of luck to you, dog. But him getting exposed once again, it sucks, especially since his play doesn't make you look past this. Because he's rarely available. When he is, he's good. But that's the thing. It's very hit or miss with Zion, who is entering like the 7th year he's been in the league. So when you see this, it's not a good look because it's like, bro, you need to pick better women that aren't going to expose you like this. And I get it. You see that booty back there? It's hard. The temptation, it's hard. I understand that, but Zion, you can't keep getting caught up in situations like this, bruh. You can't. You can't. I know it's undefeated, but you can't keep getting caught up with this when you're not producing on the court. It's just not a good look. You're muted, my guy. You're muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, Zion Williamson. I was just looking up. He's averaging 22.4 points per game.
Solid.
56, shooting 56%.
Solid.
6
How
points.
many games he played, though? How many games he's missed?
He's only played 23 games.
It's not great. I don't know where they're at, but.
You know, hitting 72% of his free throws this year.
Yeah.
For his career, he's averaging 24.5.
Yeah, I will not shame women on here, but Zion, you're wilding. I would just say that. Zion, you're out of control.
No, you don't have to shame her. You can just.
I'm not doing that. I'm just saying Zion's wilding.
Right.
He's wilding. He's out of control.
Do better.
Yeah.
You can spend $2,000 for someone who's not going to put your business out there.
There it is. That's what I'm saying. Very simple.
Go to Vegas, into those, use Tiger's old black book. Tiger knows all the secretive places.
No, he don't. I wouldn't take advice from Tiger.
Well, not anymore.
Yeah, things he's gotten into. Sex addict Tiger? No.
Now he's just I can't tell if it's AI. Doesn't he have a kid with
Lindsey Vonn?
AI, he's dating one of the Trump girls.
Oh, I ain't see all that.
Is that fake?
I don't know.
Right.
I haven't seen Tiger in a minute.
Never mind.
All right, last thing before we go bring in Patrick and Matt. So we all know, or at least if you don't know, now you know, I was born and named after Isaiah Thomas, Zeke Thomas, legendary Bad Boys Piston, and Michael Jordan. Isaiah Jordan Carter. That's my full name. That's how my parents just figured out my name. I love them for it. But it's ironic that both of those guys hate each other's guts. Isaiah Thomas strikes again. He goes on the Michelle Beadle, Chandler Parsons, DeMarcus Cousins show. I don't know what show it is, but they got a show. They're interviewing Zeke Thomas, and he can't help himself. Somehow he's comparing Bron to Jordan again. This is what he said. You guys are playing with arguably the greatest player to ever play, LeBron, and y'all treat him like he ain't nothing. LeBron James is sitting there holding every single basketball record. Jordan leads in no statistical basketball category. 15 years from now, when the next generation comes along and they talk about how great LeBron James was, it won't even be a debate. Wow, Zeke, you are bugging. He also says this. Y'all treat LeBron like he ain't nothing. When y'all say he's the greatest, y'all just talk about a guy who gave y'all some shoes and some warm-ups. So Zeke is still going in. He's still salty about how everything went 30-something years ago. I love it. I love it. Don't ever, ever forgive Isaiah Thomas, because we need that in an era where it's a little softer. And, Isaiah Thomas is the same brother that was kissing Magic Johnson on the cheek before a game. So, that's pretty soft. But either way, he busted his ass as a little man in the league that dominated, but he's still petty, Chip. And
left him off the dream team.
Yeah. So I respect it. Love him for it, but he's out of pocket. He's wilding too.
All right, let's open up the gym. I see Matt in his gear. He's got the Ole Miss gear on. I love it.
I do. It's I'm nervous. I've never been this nervous for a football game.
Oh, come on.
I'm rolling with the Rebels. I know. Listen, Ole Miss is playing better run defense. It's going to get tested tonight. Mark Fletcher, but it's going to get tested if Mario Cristobal stays patient with it against Louisville. He gave up on that run. He kept slinging it with Carson Beck, who threw 4 interceptions. Mario's been on his A game, smart, run it. I think it's going to come down to who's got the better quarterback, and I'm going with who's your Trinidaddy Chambliss.
I love it.
I said to Zay, Michael Penix played the game of his life against Texas. He could not miss. Now, it helps to have Rome Odunze and Jalen Polk and all these dudes.
Mm-hmm.
But against Michigan in the next game, he wasn't nearly as good. I think Trinidad Chambliss is that good.
Well, I love this. Chip on board. It makes me feel so much better. This is just the biggest game that Ole Miss has ever played in my life. So it's a little nerve-wracking.
It's so fun. I'm so happy for you. I mean, my
you.
cousin went to Miami. He can't even breathe right now. So, yeah. But I'm happy for you dudes because
me too.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
It's the funniest thing that could happen is Lane Kiffin leaving a team because they can't win a title and they win a title.
I know.
Be the funniest thing that possible to happen to Lane Kiffin.
Here's the question that I want to pose to everybody before you get off, guys. Would you give Lane Kiffin a ring if they win it all?
Hell no.
Oh, I would, and there'd be something nice on the inscription.
Yeah, and then he'd have to wear it.
Yeah.
He's the coach at LSU, and it says Ole Miss on it.
Yeah.
It says Ole Miss, and on the inside says something I'm not going to say on the air.
You got to
describe it.
Something like
describe it and say
he can't get one. He can't get one.
Sorry you missed out. That's the nice version.
See you, fellas.
Appreciate it, guys. Welcome into Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Petter Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI and Ole Miss alumnus. He is ready for the game today. And, of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Text line's open, 512-222-9328. And, of course, over here on the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. And, Matt, I know. I can already feel it from you. I can feel it from you in a different city. I can feel the nervous tension that is coming having a ginormous game tonight.
Man, I've been trying not to think about it too much today, but it's here, man. It's 2.5 hours from kickoff, so it's real. I guess we're gonna make our pick later in the show, so we'll talk about it more then. But talk about goosebumps, man. This is not only do I have goosebumps because they could lose, but I also told one of my buddies that if they made it to the championship, that I would go with him. And I really don't want to spend like $5,000 for a nosebleed ticket. Like I'm a sports writer. I probably can't afford that. So that seems kind of outrageous, but we'll see how it goes. I probably still won't go even if they make it. But yes, Naman, I am an Ole Miss alum. I went to Ole Miss from 2005 to was supposed to be 2009, but wasn't exactly 2009. But we did graduate, and I've been an Ole Miss fan for 21 years now. And my sister went there too. She was there in the 90s, so I've always had a love for Ole Miss.
Yeah, No, it's a good reason to be a fan of them tonight. Yeah, and I get that you hating on Lane Kiffin will be there. I have no ties to Miami either, so I'm not a huge Mario Cristobal or Carson Beck guy either. So, I'll be rooting for my man Matt. So we'll be rooting for Ole Miss in this one because there's no one else really left in the playoffs that I have any sort of remote ties to or anything else. So,
I mean, who's more likable in the playoff right now than Ole Miss that's left? Nobody.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't think so. It's funny because I there's people that keep saying Indiana. I think Big Ten believes Indiana is very likable because they're Big Ten people. And so they're like, Indiana is like this upstart. I mean, it's like, yeah, but they're still spending money too. They're doing the same thing as everybody else. And Kurt Cignetti did a great job putting that team together. I don't want to diminish he did it. I still will say he's a coward for canceling the Virginia game. That's a cowardly act. I don't like it. But it's worked out so far for him. So we'll see that one tomorrow night. But yeah, we get the Miami Ole Miss game tonight. We'll talk more about that in just a little bit as we go in and break that down a little bit more. And Matt gives you all the insights he has of following his team all year long. And then as a fan, not just as a sports writer, but as a fan, and get us ready for Miami Ole Miss. We'll also make our picks there because we got to make that pick. We got to put that one on the pick. So we'll do that one. But a lot to get into for the portal today. What's happening in college sports still and everything that's surrounding that. Plenty to get into there. Got to talk some NFL as well as we're almost to playoff and wild card weekend in the NFL. So we'll get into all of that good stuff as we get in. Huge trade or not. I won't even say huge trade. There was a trade in the NBA. It feels like it should have been bigger, but there was a trade in the NBA. So we'll talk about that a little bit if we have time at the end of the show. But we did see some portal action, good and bad today. For Texas, Zena Umeozulu is in the portal or is headed to the portal. Jamie French is headed to the portal. This is both those guys were maybes. We kind of thought maybe they would go, maybe they would come back. Their playing time was not at any point guaranteed next season. So, and the fact that Jamie French wasn't really still a part of the Citrus Bowl plans, maybe helped in there. The number clearly probably wasn't right for what they wanted anyway. That is a thing we consistently have been hearing for a lot of these younger guys, that the number is quite there. I want to get into that in a minute, but we see both of them go. It's Matt. Now we're looking at a world for depth for Texas is really, really starting to wear thin in a lot of places where you're still going to go in and bring in, transfers, and we'll get in the guys they just got today to help it out. There's starting to be much more attrition than we thought was going to be before the portal opened.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that either of these were totally surprising. I think that, Texas might get some good news at wide receiver here in the next couple days. I think that French, you can, he's obviously very talented. When I wrote my commitment story about him last year, I was very, very excited about him. Like, one of the most skilled players at wide receiver in terms of body control and catch radius and ability to high point the football and all those different things that was in that class. I don't think he really had a path to competing next year any more than he was going to compete this past year because of the names that they could bring in, or because there were people that were passing him on the depth chart. Texas does have a lot of talent in that wide receiver room still, even without Parker Livingston and Jamie French. Does it hurt? Yeah, because anytime you bring in a 5-star recruit, you want to watch that kid play football and you want to see him be good. And I think that the transfer portal has sort of ruined college football in that way to a certain degree. Like, there's a lot of younger players that are leaving programs that, probably have no business playing or leaving their programs. They're just chasing the money or chasing more opportunity because they feel like they need to get on the field right now or whatever the case may be. So Texas still has Khalil Lockett. They still have Ryan Wingo. Jermaine Bishop's coming in. Emmett Mosley's still there. Like I said, there's probably going to be some good news here in the next couple of days about wide receivers. So not necessarily the biggest loss in the world. You still kind of hate to see it.
Yeah, don't
And
forget
again,
Jalen McCutcheon and Ryan Niblett are still there as well.
Yeah, and they're still there as well. I love Dalen McCutcheon. I think he's going to be great once he learns how to catch the football. And then Zena Yemezulu, obviously, edge rusher, premium position. His brother just left, so it's not hugely surprising to see him leave. I've heard one of the places that he's heavily considering, and that's really going to piss off Texas fans. It's not Oklahoma. So, that is what it is. He was a solid depth piece. You got young talent coming in. You got young talent on the roster. You got visitors coming in at the position. So I think they'll be fine there as well. It's just there's so many more exits than there are wins right now that it seems like the roster is kind of falling apart. But at the end of the day, everything will balance out and it'll be just fine.
No, and I think that this is depth stuff. This isn't necessarily anything other than you hate to see it because what we know of what championship rosters were for so long was you have depth, you build depth, and that's how you build a dynasty and how you build a consistent contender is depth. And this is not a singular problem at Texas. This is across the board. You recruit well, and then it's just really hard to keep everybody in. On the positive side of that, we did see Raleek Brown has committed to Texas. So there is the running back from Arizona State headed in, and then a big one in Zion Williams, the D tackle from Louisiana State University, has come in and committed as well. So two really good gets that you want to get there. Even it out a little bit. I think Raleek Brown wouldn't have covered as much of today's as being a little bit happier, but the Zion Williams helps. It helps with it being a little bit happier and seeing them close some of these deals. And really on the defensive end at some positions, they've made some really good signings. It just hasn't been at the flashy positions that we want to see. And so you get a flashy guy, and I don't know if there's many guys flashier than Raleek Brown in the run game.
Yeah, and I've been, kind of hinting that he was going to commit. It felt like once Jabbar Jalouk went to visit him, and then he made the return trip to Austin, that if he left Austin without, signing on the dotted line or committing or whatever you want to call it, it would have been a major failure. They locked him in. This guy is electric in terms of speed. I comped him to Jaden Blue, I believe it was yesterday. He's not necessarily quite as fast as Jaden Blue. That'd be really hard to do, is to be as fast as Jaden Blue. There aren't many people in the sport of football, college or pro, who are as fast as Jaden Blue. But he's got elite breakaway speed. He's a little bit bigger and a little bit tougher in between the tackles than he gets credit for. He holds onto the football. He's a dynamic threat out of the backfield. He'll be utilized really well in the outside zone rushing attack that Texas likes to do. And I think it was, I can't remember who posted this on Twitter, but the play that Trey Wisner had against A&M, where it was an outside zone run, and then he cut up the field and he went for like a 37-yard run or like 40-yard run or whatever it was in the second half of that football game. If Raleek Brown is carrying the football in that scenario, that's probably a touchdown. That's the kind of breakaway speed that this guy has. So I know that the numbers against every team that he played weren't outstanding. He had some really, really big games, and he had some games where he was kind of average. Here's the thing also about Arizona State. They didn't have their number one wide receiver the entire season for the most part. Like, he was out for a lot of the season, particularly in some of those games where Raleek Brown didn't have eye-popping stats. Their quarterback, Sam Leavitt, was also not in every football game, and he didn't play particularly well through some of these games either. It was a very different Arizona State football team than it was 2 years ago when Texas played them in the college football playoff and Cam Scatterby was running wild on everybody. That was a more complete unit. This team was a little bit different. And I mean, he was ranked the number 3 running back in the transfer portal for a reason. He's a really, really big get. He's going to add a lot to this football team in terms of game-breaking ability and ability to score and change the game and flip the field with big runs. And I'm going to pull up a stat for you guys here in a minute that kind of proves to you what I'm talking about.
Yeah, there's Yeah, and we did see Isaiah Horton from Alabama's in the portal. That's another name of a guy that if they're looking for wide receiver and maybe miss out on somebody else, then there's a name that you could go with as well, a really good player. So lots of names you could find there. But yeah, I think when you look at Raleek Brown, the piece of the puzzle is he is a piece of the puzzle. He is not the guy that you would want to sign as your first running back, but a really, really good second back. And so I think they're still looking for another back out there. Keep in mind, they we don't know where they're at on Christian Clark, but they wanted to keep him. Michael Terry, we know they've, as far as we know, has not entered the portal yet. I think they do have some other options of guys they want to go get. But Raleek Brown, I think the best way you described is, you can use him in that Jaden Blue way, where Jaden Blue worked really, really well with a complement of other players. You just have to find all those other pieces. And then once you find all those other pieces, then he becomes a really dynamic player for you. And I mean, what's Sark's favorite type of play, Matt? Explosive plays. And that is what that guy specializes in.
Yeah. And here's the stat leading into that I was going to talk about, Patrick. Jeff Ketchum tweeted this out today, and it really opened my eyes as to what this guy can do. Trey Wisner's longest carries in every game this season. 13 yards, 6 yards, 37 yards, 8 yards, 9 yards, 13 yards, 16 yards, 12 yards, and 48 yards. That one was against A&M. Here are Raleek Brown's: 19, 26, 75, 14, 35, 14, 22, 23, 26, 6, 88, and 22. He's going for an explosive carry in almost every single football game that he plays, regardless of the opponent. That is impressive. You can't even really say that about Jaden Blue either. And you also had to worry about the fumble stuff with Jaden Blue. I talked about the breakaway numbers with Raleek Brown yesterday in comparison to Jaden Blue. Almost 50% of his runs are breakaway runs, which means they go for 15 yards on plays that are not designed to go 15 yards or more.
Yeah.
So really, really explosive guy that's going to be a major weapon if he's utilized correctly, which I expect he will be.
Yeah, and that's the question, and that's where it sits, is because we can look at Trey Wisner's numbers last year and be like, Raleek Brown would have had 400, 350, 400 yards in Texas offense last year because no one could run on that offense last year. It was just the run game was bad last year. The offensive line wasn't holding anybody. There was no holes. It was really hard to get anything going. So I don't know if he would have been able to be great in that offense last year either. I think that there is a potential used correctly. If you put him in the right spaces, we know what he can do. And yeah, Randy, it's against baseball defenses. So you have to look at it and go, I don't expect him to be a 1,000-yard back for Texas next year, but I do expect him to have some really big plays. And that was something that was really lacking for Texas for most of the season. And that's because there's no O-line at the end of the day, but you want to add some more explosive players back into that, because Ryan Wingo is really probably your best explosive play guy down the stretch, because you could get Ryan Wingo the ball and let him just run, and he could run through guys and he could get away from guys, and he had elusiveness and speed and explosiveness, all those things you wanted. And you didn't have that with Trey Wisner. He's not that kind of player. He's better through the tackles player than Raleek Brown is, but he's not a better in that sense of let's get him out there, run him to the outside, and he could go get us 25 yards. He's not that guy. And that is something that Raleek Brown adds to there. I need to go back and see what his pass pro is, because that's another piece of, if you want to play in Texas and you want to be a part of it, you kind of have to look at his pass pro a little bit more, because he is a little bit smaller of a guy. We've seen smaller guys be decent at pass pro before, but that is another piece you kind of want to make sure you're not behind the 8 ball on, or else you get on the field less. We've seen that with tons of running backs for Texas that everybody liked, and then you're like, why are they not in the game? They're not protecting the quarterback, and that's going to get you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to do some research on his pass pro. I don't want everybody to automatically assume just because a guy played in the Big 12, that means that he can't compete in the SEC.
No, it doesn't.
Like Randy, I get it was against Big 12 defenses. That's part of it. Yeah, sure. But also you have to consider the fact that he has the traits that you're looking for. You know, he's shifty, he's athletic, he's explosive, he's fast. He runs through tackles better than, you know, people give him credit for. I've seen him compared to James Cook with the Buffalo Bills, if that gives you any idea of the kind of back that this guy is. He can kind of do everything. And it's not even really fair to call him a boutique back either. Like I fully expect Texas to bring in a big bruiser, bell cow type running back at some point before the portal closes. But that doesn't mean that this guy can't, you know, be a major part of what you're doing running the football next season. So I think a little bit of that gets lost in the sauce when you talk about what power conference they play in. Because there's good defenses in the Big 12. Like, there just is. Look at Texas Tech. Like, they had a really, really good defense. And there are some other teams in there, too, that have a lot of talent. I mean, Texas is taking another Big 12 visitor right now, or maybe he was there yesterday. It was either yesterday or today. Wendell Gregory, one of the best pass rushers in the Big 12. It's a Big 12 defender. Does that mean he's not going to be able to do it in the SEC? No. So, yeah, and Arizona State was the only team that beat Texas Tech in the regular season, by the way. Good shout out there, Israel. But, yeah, great stuff. Like, I think it's a really big pickup. He's ranked number 3 in the portal at running back for a reason.
No, exactly. Like, there's a ton of – if you're talking about what's in the portal and what you need and what you were looking for out of that, I think, Matt, you put it best, is this is something you don't have on your roster. Where you could believe Christian Clark may be a little bit more in the line of a brute runner, or Michael Terry might be in the line of a bit more of a brute runner, if you can turn him into that. You do not have a guy that is massively explosive. So when you're adding a piece, you can say he's one of the best available, and he fills something that we do not have on this roster, where while we might want to upgrade at that position, we're upgrading and now we're adding where we didn't. It's not even an upgrade. It's an add. It's a complete add to a minus. There was a 0 there before. So that's the positive. You look there. Then we look over at Zion Williams, and you look at what Will Muschamp is starting to put together on that defense. And yes, linebacker is still a major question. You still probably want to add another piece into that secondary. But that defensive line is coming together very nicely, that the competition is still going to be very elite on that defensive line as you're trying to put some stuff together, and got some good young talent that is going to be fighting to get on the field. And when they get on, they're fighting to make a statement. So in a position where we talk about there's less and less depth on Texas next season, most likely because of how many people are leaving, it's just attrition. It's hard to replace all of those guys. The fact is, a position that you need a lot of attrition and a lot of depth on is that defensive line, because you are going to rotate a ton. You are going to switch that, and Texas is going to maintain having one of the deeper defensive lines in the SEC.
Yeah, and one of the big parts of what Will Muschamp likes to do on defense is have a very traditional, big, space-eating nose tackle that can hold up at the line and occupy gaps and clear things up for linebackers and all those kinds of things. He got one of those guys with Ian Jaffrard. There was only one other player really on the roster who fit that mold to a T, and it was Josiah Sharma. And now today you get Zion Williams. He's young. He's going to have at least 3 years of eligibility. He might have 4 years of eligibility left after this season. 350-pound, big, brute defensive tackle from Lufkin, Texas. It's a great addition. He's going to be the future of that position alongside Josiah Sharma going forward. He's a really, really big get. And, it's everything is really coming together on that defensive front. You probably want to add another edge rusher now that Zini Meozulu's gone. And especially one that might have a little bit more time with the roster, maybe a couple of years of eligibility, since Colin Simmons is probably not going to be back for a senior season after next year.
No, and in all reality, he's one of those guys you're like, I don't want you back, because if you come back, it means you didn't have the season we want you to have.
Yeah, exactly.
We want you to go out there and set the sack record at Texas. We want you to go out there and do everything crazy you can do, and to just be elite and be a top 3 pick in the draft next year. That's what we want from you. So if you're coming back, something went wrong.
Yeah, there's a very good possibility that Texas could have the number 1 and number 2 picks in next year's NFL draft if everything goes the way that it should go with
Well,
Arch Manning and Colin Simmons. So
we know we saw Dan Orlovsky say yesterday or the day before when he was asked, I believe on Dan Patrick, if Arch came out, where would he be? And he's like, overwhelming number one, not even a question.
yeah, and that's true.
Like after everything he went through, they're like, he's still the overwhelming number one and first overall pick this season if you were to go.
Yeah, and it's not even close. Too bad that, too bad for the Raiders and the Giants. He's not going to do it. But here we are. And it's, you feel pretty good about those two guys. The linebacker thing is going to work itself out. They're probably going to be at least 2 or 3 guys that they bring in, I would imagine. I don't think the jury is out on Elijah Barnes returning. There was reports that came out last night that Will Muschamp that Will Muschamp met with him and they had a long discussion and things seem to have settled themselves. He has not yet withdrawn from the portal, but it seems to be trending in that direction. So hopefully that thing works itself out and he's back in the fold. Even if he is, you still need to bring in a couple guys. And there are guys out there that are going to be up for that. And then obviously offensive line is still a major need, and we can talk about that too.
And Jesse, no, I do not think Sark's going to the NFL, even though there's way too many job openings right now. I do not think that, but the reason why they're spending money differently, because this is a piece I kept talking to people about it and being like, what's so different about this year? Because this year feels really different. And what you finally get down to is, because this is when we're finally like players that with revenue sharing are eligible to be in the portal now. Players who've only known revenue sharing are able to be in the portal. And the difference of revenue sharing, ways it was explained to me of some of the things that could happen was they would go out to a high school senior and then they can't tell you NIL. I mean, they do, but they can't, right? Those lines of the teams are not supposed to be discussing NIL stuff. And so coaches are not. So there's lines between all that stuff, but they can discuss revenue sharing. And a lot of these players were told that the revenue sharing would be, here's this thing, here's your revenue that we're giving you in year one, which is a lot to get you to come in. And the goal is in year 2, if you get playing time, you will then get NIL. And if you get NIL, it will supplant what we were paying you in the transfer portal. So we're in the revenue sharing, and we can go get other freshmen with revenue sharing, and we get transfers with revenue sharing. And we don't have to keep paying you out of this much smaller pot how much we can give you, because we can only give you what it's like 16 million, something like that, 15, 16 that's probably going to football, something around that number, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but a number around that of what you're going for your whole 85 scholarship players. So you only have, because it's 24 million, I think, for the entire school. That includes all sports. So you're chipping away at it from different places. So your revenue sharing is one piece. You're able to tell them this. Now these guys come up and they go, you're going to be playing next year. All of that's great, but we have to knock your revenue sharing down. Doesn't mean you're going to make less money. It means you're going to transfer over to getting some NIL stuff now. And you'll be able to get NIL money for doing commercials and doing appearances and, car sponsorships and whatever else. Well, you can do that because you're going to be on the field for us now. You're not just coming in. You've now met all these boosters and donors. You've met all the people who own every car dealership. They know you now. You've got a year in. So this number was always supposed to go down. Always. Mm-hmm. Because we cannot afford to keep going up and up and up and up and up. We'll just run out of money. It's not like the NFL, where the NFL continues to have a larger salary cap every season. Salary cap's not expanding like that in college sports. So when the kids get the message, they hear in their head the part they want to hear, or maybe they don't, and maybe it's not explained to them properly. Maybe it's their parents. Maybe there's a lot of reasons, but some of them believe, well, if I do well enough, I will continue to make what I'm making this year. Then I will get NIL on top of that, and they'll give me more revenue sharing. So if I'm making $750,000 to come to Texas my freshman season, this is a hypothetical number. If I'm making $750,000, then I'm supposed to make next year, if I'm playing now, because I wasn't even playing that year, I could make upwards of $1 million. And then in NIL, I can make $1 million. I could make $2 million next year. Where in Texas brain, they go, you didn't play and made $750,000. Next year, you'll get NIL and you will make $750,000 to $800,000. Maybe if you play well, up to $1 million, because you'll get more and more sponsorships. but we're replacing it revenue sharing with NIL money. So it's a complex thing that if the parents, kids, everyone's not on board with this happening, and it's really hard to explain the hard parts of this in a sales pitch because you also really want them to recruit. So you're telling them it, but you're not necessarily driving home the point. Just to let you know, in a year, this number will not be the same. And we're going to find a way to get you the NIL, but I can't tell you right now, here's all this extra money. So the initial reaction is a lot of these kids or parents or families or whatever get upset when they get told you're not guaranteed playing time and the revenue share is going down, but we expect you to be on the field next year and open up some NIL opportunities for you. It's an initial shock because the way you're living at 18, 19 years old, when you're expecting to make at least $500,000 or at least six figures, I'll even say, every single year for the rest of your life. And so you spend money like it's going out of style, then it's a real big sticker shock on the flip side of that. So that leads to a lot of younger people now in the portal because either they're saying, man, I don't want to, I don't like this. I don't like being told that I'm getting my revenue share is dropping, even though I think I'm worth the same revenue share, even though my NIL may go up. That's not guaranteed to me. That's not in writing. So I'm not happy about that. Or they go on the flip of that and go, screw that. If I go in the portal, I get revenue share again because they're trying to get me out of the portal. So if I'm making this here, I can go get that or more somewhere else, and I don't even have to screw around with trying to get NIL. And I'll get on the playing field and I'll get NIL too, but I'll still make sure my bottom dollar, my downside guarantee, what I'm going to make at the end of the year, no matter what, is this number. And so there's two sides to it, but it's a wildly different landscape than it was a couple of years ago, where when freshmen came in, they were promised NIL, but that was such a shady world too, where people were getting promised a lot of things that were maybe coming through and maybe not. And if you didn't play, your NIL went down. And so we saw kids transferring because of NIL, because they were lied to or they didn't follow through, whatever the reason, they didn't get the NIL that they thought they were going to get. So it's a shift in a landscape where we've kind of already known the portal, but why it feels different this year is because of that revenue share and that we have a class of kids now that have come up with the revenue share, and it's just a different, and also every blue blood's trying to figure it out too, because this is brand new stuff. So they don't know how to make that budget fit the way they want it to fit. So that is a large piece of why this is such a different landscape right now, is that revenue share versus NIL and the plan that teams had in mind that maybe the families and the young adults did not have in mind. And that landscape is causing a lot of younger players to hit the portal.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's no doubt about that. It's really affecting, in my opinion, what college football is as a sport, as we've all grown to know and love it. Because those kinds of things are affecting whether or not you get to watch a young, exciting player grow within your program and become a fan favorite. Like, how are we ever going to see a Jordan Shipley again at a skill position, who comes in as a really highly rated recruit and then maybe doesn't get on the field as a true freshman, but everybody's really excited about him, and that's a quarterback. That's not a skill position.
Yeah, I think we will, but not definitely not the same rate.
Yes, it would be at a remarkably lower rate, and that's really, really unfortunate. And the fact of the matter is, Texas has to make really, really hard decisions on exciting young players based on what they want to do in the portal and the players that are available to them, because if they don't do it, then they're going to fall behind.
Yes.
And that's kind of what sucks about it. But I mean, listen, I think Patrick put it really well. Like, NIL and revenue sharing are two completely different things.
Yes.
And Texas may be being a little bit more conservative on the revenue sharing front. I don't think they're being conservative on the NIL front. Like, I heard reports that the money that they offered to the Michigan offensive linemen, for example, was far above what Michigan offered them. But they chose to go back to Michigan anyway. Like, those kinds of things happen. Sometimes you can put all the money in the world into it and you still lose. So, you know, it's a battle that you have to fight, and you have to do all of these. You have to do things all these different ways, and it's unfortunate. It's going to suck in the future when Texas loses another bright young recruit that everybody was excited about. But it's just going to clear the way for more of them to come in, and then hopefully one hits, and you get to see him turn into a Longhorn legend. But you know, it's such a weird place that we're in these days.
It is, and it also goes to what Texas. It seems as if Texas is looking at this offseason at a bit more of, okay, we have X amount of dollars that we can spend, and we're finding out that a lot of kids we're giving them revenue sharing, we're giving them a lot of money, and they're never going to play for us, because as soon as we take that away, they don't want to. They're not excited. They're not excited about coming out and earning the NIL, even though it's going to be there. Like, it's going to be there. And I'll tell you, this is the thing with, if we want to talk about Bo Barnes, and what happened is Bo Barnes was told he was going to get a lot less revenue sharing, and he walked out of a room and understandably upset if he was not aware of what was coming in the second end of that. And so when they sit down and they go, but you could still make more money this year than you made last year. Because if you're starting for the University of Texas at linebacker, you're going to get some good NIL.
Yeah. I also think that there was a part of that conversation that people haven't talked about as much, which is he wanted to compete for a starting position.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to be given the opportunity to compete for a starting position, not guaranteed one, but given an opportunity.
Yes.
And I think that Will Muschamp probably sat him down and was like, look, man, look at the linebackers that I've put in the NFL and the type of talent that we have developed under my tutelage and Johnny Nansen has developed. Look at Anthony Hill. Like, you're going to have that opportunity, and I'm going to utilize you the correct way. And I'm sure that resonated with him a lot, which is why that, you know, I tend to believe that those things are going to work themselves out. You know, hopefully, I don't want to jinx anything, but hopefully that ends up working itself out. But yeah, there's money conversations involved. There's playing time conversations involved. And it's really unfortunate that these coaches have to bust their asses constantly just to get players to come back for another year.
Yeah.
And
and by the way, it also sucks that that teams are doing this. There's 4 teams still doing it in the playoffs, which is also insane to me. And I'm glad it's not us this year. I'd rather it be us, because I'd rather be in the games right now. But it is also awful that there's 4 teams right now that are like doing that while trying to prepare for the biggest games in the Indiana history, Ole Miss history.
Mm-hmm.
And I get, has Oregon been here before? It's close.
They've
to
played
Oregon.
for a national championship before.
No, Oregon, it's close to Oregon. Miami's done it enough. It's not the biggest game in Miami history, but
yeah,
they're the only one that's been there enough and had a run before. So.
See, this is kind of a hot take, and I'm sure that everybody disagrees with me, but it may be a blessing in disguise that Texas didn't make the playoff this year, because now you get an opportunity to really focus instead of pulling double duty and trying to rebuild your roster for next year and prepare for the playoff at the same time. Now you have an opportunity to focus solely on that and really build the roster that you think can win you a national championship in the final year under Arch Manning, and really go all in. And people are going to hear me say all in, and they're going to be like, but they haven't signed Cam Coleman, and they didn't sign Jaden Baugh. All this. It's going to work out. I'm still a 10 out of 10.
And I won't say blessing in disguise. I will say definite positive of, if you're having to look at the back side of things. I'm with you, though.
Silver lining.
Yes, silver. Yeah, that's the right word. It's silver lining of things didn't work out the way you wanted, but it does set you in a better place to try and figure out next season. Over on the text zone, Man Chan says, in my humble opinion, wouldn't NIL help with the person's personal brand, be able to market themselves, network, and grow if they do well on and off the field? Just asking. Yes, exactly. That's the plan. We're going to introduce you to all those people. If you ever go to, especially Texas basketball games are easier to see it because there's just less people. Like, and I don't mean that in the stands. I mean, there's less people on the field and there's less people on the court. There's like, it's easier to see. You will see every freshman going over and saying hi to certain people at games. You see all the young guys going over and talking, and the new guys, as they're trying to ingratiate them. These are the guys you want them to be friends with. And that's what you do your freshman year is you get introduced to everybody who will then be able to take care of you with NIL. Part of being an NIL, you do a good job in your NIL and actually show up to the things you're supposed to do and be around for that. No matter what happens in the rest of your life, you'll have people in positions of power and financial success that will always have your back. And so it's a really big piece of what Texas can offer, not only the money of NIL, but the network of NIL. And so you want to get players involved in it, but the revenue sharing side of it has just kind of clouded that because when we started, it was all NIL. And so there wasn't two numbers you were getting thrown at yourself. And yes, it's completely unregulated really because there's no punishments for anybody. So I'd say minimum 75% of people are cheating in one way or another or breaking the rules is maybe a better way to say it because you just don't even know what the rules really are. You kind of do, but then someone else gets away with it and you go, well, I'm talking to a guy and I know that he has gotten 4 offers for NIL from coaches. What the hell am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to be the moral one and say, guys, we can't discuss that. So like it is what it is in the landscape of college football now. You kind of have to do what you have to do. But that's where we get into that. And then we throw in the other factor of this, which is what Texas has been looking at the way they've been doing things and the start coming up at USC with Pete Carroll and that run that Pete Carroll had at USC. And then seeing what happened at Nick Saban and Alabama, that run they had. And the key piece of all of that was depth. Because with depth, you can develop. And if you constantly have somebody ready to go, we've seen Saban pull out a star quarterback for another star quarterback multiple times in major games. We have seen all of those things happen in major games. And that was the blueprint. A lot of guys now believe that's no longer the blueprint. And if you've only got X amount of dollars to spend, you should really try and go get the best starters you can for that money. Hence, trying to go get a Cam Coleman for whatever he costs. Let me get the best players at every position. Now, you're not going to be able to do it everywhere because, again, everyone's trying to do this. But instead of keeping some of those guys that normally you would have kept and maybe not gone for the top guy, you would now are trying to flip that around and spend a little bit more of that money on getting as many really influential, experienced players that you feel can help you win a national championship next year. This is very much live by the sword, die by the sword type of action. It's much riskier, but Ole Miss is playing tonight. They did it. That was the Ole Miss way of doing things. And they're in the playoffs. Miami has done this. Miami is playing tonight in a playoff game. Oregon has done this. Oregon is playing tomorrow night in a playoff game. So when you look at that and you go, well, what's working is more upperclassmen, more people with experience playing, and more people that are top-level guys there, and we'll figure out next year. And you try and keep as many pieces as you can in the middle of that, but you understand I can't have both. I can't have the best players starting and depth anymore. That just doesn't – it's not really flying in today's economics.
Yeah. I mean, I totally agree that the days of the long dynasties like Alabama had, like Georgia had to a certain extent, USC back in the day. I hate saying back in the day because like I was in high school when that was going on, but still, like those days are gone.
Yeah,
those days are absolutely gone, and it's all about going out and finding the best players at every position to the best of your ability, or filling roles that you or holes that you have in your team with the best players that you can find in the portal. I mean, back when Alabama was in its prime, a 5-star edge would go down with an injury, or a 5-star linebacker, or a 5-star wide receiver, 5-star running back. And who was behind him? Another 5-star. And who was behind that guy? Another 5-star. Like it was unbelievable. Alabama was cheating their ass off back in the day in recruiting, just like everybody else was.
Yeah, everybody was.
They were just doing it better than everybody. Now it's
right. So was Mississippi State, and they sucked.
Yeah, it's a much more even playing field now for everybody, which is the one good thing that comes out of this. It creates a little bit more parity across college football. But The real coaches that become legends after the start of the NIL era are going to be the ones that figured out how to navigate the portal correctly.
Yeah.
And I feel like Sark is doing that so far. He didn't do it well enough last year. I thought he was too conservative last year. It feels like he realized after what happened last year going into this year that he needs to go a little bit more in. And, I think there are going to be pretty good results. Which Oklahoma Edge, Randy? I'm having such a hard time keeping up with all this stuff. By the way, ticket prices for the national championship were just posted by Ross Dellinger.
Yeah.
From which one is this from? I think it's from SeatGeek. Doesn't really matter. The one that's listed as an amazing deal on the lower bowl, $11,965 per ticket.
Oh man, look, there's one up in the upper deck that's not even in the shot because it's too far away that it's not even in the picture for this. That's
literally the last row.
Literally the last row. It's only $3,500.
Yeah. Probably not going to Miami, boys.
Man, yeah, that is nuts. That is so much money. Yeah, I don't know. That's take that money and put it back into NIL. Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Spending all that money. Going, I guess the people that spend that money got plenty of it. They can give that money to NIL and do both. I am not of the wealth that I could do either of them. So I don't know.
Troy O'Meary's entering the transfer portal again.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's the hair of the dog. I always say, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. Is the old Al Davis stings, and that is. I mean, it's a thing in sports, and I always talk about this in baseball because baseball is the sport with the most rambunctious and constant cheating out of any sport in the world. It is insane how much people cheat in that sport, and part of that is because even at a very young age, like there's the Little League World Series, they consistently cheat. Like every 2 or 3 years, there's a major scandal, all this stuff. So it's so ridiculous, but it's justifiable cheating. Justifiable cheating is what baseball is built on. Well, the batters are cheating and trying to look at our signals, so I can put on some pine tar in the baseball to get better. And the pitcher's using pine tar, so we can goose our bats up a little bit more, and we can take a step in. And it's just constantly back and forth that just requires so much more justifiable cheating. If I want to be honest with you, I will tell you there's not a doubt in my mind the Patriots are cheating somehow this season. I don't know how bad it is, but I know a lot of other teams are too. I'm just saying the track record of the offensive coordinator of that team and his track record when he's cheating versus when he's not in Drake May's season would lead me to believe that something is happening here. But maybe I'm completely off base on that one. We just say track record would let me believe that was there. And yes, the NCAA still they just can't do anything. They're a completely impotent organization right now because anything happens and they get sued, and they can't afford to keep getting sued. So now they're just trying not to get sued. So once a lawsuit gets presented, they're like, how much is it going to be to fight it versus what's the backlash if we just let this happen? And that is basically what the NCAA has been for the last 5 years now, something like that. It's ridiculous. There needs to be another organization to take it over. I know the people who want to take it over will make it much, much worse because they will have no care for anything in the world other than money. So as much as the NCAA was a borderline criminal syndicate, as my man Rob Babers would always say, and the guy who that created the name student athlete said later that was a horrible thing that should have never been done, that he was like, no, it was completely made up, and it was a way to basically shirk the laws, that antitrust laws and everything else that should have been there. So there is no real good solution anymore because we don't live in a country with a lot of, people with money who are also nice and just people. Those two things don't really go together anymore. I don't know if they ever did back in the day. I know they don't now. So whatever will take it over will be worse. It'll be different and it'll be weirder in a way, but more people will get screwed over in the new way. Yet it won't be as crazy as it is in the portal right now.
Yeah.
That,
I mean, yeah. I mean, I keep getting text messages about the game tonight, so I'm getting distracted. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how the NCAA can survive all of this, but I think you're also 100% right. Like if another organization takes it over, that organization is going to be sold. I mean, the NCAA is kind of all about money, but
Yeah.
whatever takes that over is going to be well above that in terms of their care for money. And it's going to turn college sports into professional sports like overnight. Almost.
No, we're
right
on the edge of college sports being professional sports, and the reality is there is no going back. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, and that toothpaste. I mean, they have rolled that toothpaste tube all the way up and done everything else to get all that toothpaste out of it. There's nothing you can do about it anymore. You can't go back and go, okay, guys. Well, now we're going to share some of the money, but you guys got to not ask for it, and we'll just tell you what you get. You can't do that. You can't work in the way of what it could have. There's all these solutions. If the NCAA had acted in, I don't even know, 2005, would have been completely fine and would have got away with basically, being awful people for years and years and exploiting the labor of so many young people. They would have been fine with that. But now we go. Michael, it's because Aggies are spreading rumors. That's as easy as I can tell you. There's.
Yeah, they also put out rumors that Colin Simmons was at a Texas A&M visit, and that all kinds of stuff. Just guys, just for your own sake of sanity, probably avoid Twitter for the next 48 to 72 hours. If you want your news on Texas Longhorn sports, watch Open Gym, listen to Open Gym, or go to Texas Longhorns on a site, because that's a pretty good one too.
There, Texas Longhorns on a site. Get a little plug in there. Yeah, it is. Yeah, the rumors, and then we saw. They posted something that the person whose name is in the post has already come out and been like, "This is blatantly fake." So, it's silly. It's rumors spreading rumors. Yeah, Arch is leaving too. I think Texas is shutting down operations, from what I've heard.
Yeah, they're actually getting rid of the football program altogether. Patrick, is what they're doing.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
It's you gotta find the Daniel Rossini one was more annoying because you're like, you should be a reputable person, but message boards are not facts. We know that message boards are not facts, and message board things get posted onto X like they're facts, and then no one seems to double check them, so you get into troubles there.
Also guys, if you are going to be on X, don't get no coast or no threed. Okay, just avoid those. Make sure you're looking at the right accounts, the legitimate accounts. Just
always. Yeah, it would have been nice if someone didn't buy it and take away the X's from all the people that should have had them, and made it where we could check stuff easily. I remember covering sports at that time, and it was a frustrating few days there where you're like, oh, it's just everyone can do whatever they want now, and we just got to find what's real and not. Cool, awesome, thanks, appreciate it. Then they go talk to someone, and they go, well, just get off it. And you go, it is the sports app. It's like the app for when you follow sports. Nothing that comes out faster than on there. So if you don't follow there, you're behind. And trust me, I've seen what people post on Facebook, and it's also not. It's also not.
There's wild stuff on Facebook.
I've seen some posted stuff like, oh my God. And you just see like a picture too. And you're like, oh my goodness. I don't know who went all this time, but but yeah, Matt, so we've still got a couple people in the hopper for Texas that they're still looking at. Do we have anybody on campus right now, Matt?
There is an offensive lineman that was a visit today from Oregon State. Let me get his name real quick because I've already forgotten it. Dylan Sikorsky, 6'4", 332-pound redshirt freshman out of Oregon State. He is known as. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read you his scouting report because I think that it's going to make people very happy. Should Texas be able to land?
I like
this guy.
Name already. The name already feels like a guy who, just knows how to be a middle America guy who just plays offensive line.
just a lunch pail, knock you in the face kind of a guy. Sikorsky this is from Brandon Huffman of 24/7 Sports. Sikorsky is a big-bodied offensive lineman who has tackle size and feet, but likely projects inside in college because he's reshaped his body and trimmed down and looks more athletic and is now showing much improved change of direction and ability to get to the second level. He's got tremendous strength, but is showing even better in-game strength now as he gets his hands on a defender. That defender is taken out of the play. He uses his size to his advantage and is a terrific run blocker and continues to get better in pass protection as he anchors and gets his lower base set. He is not giving up much ground and keeps his defender at bay. He also plays with a nasty streak and an edge to his game. That sounds like kind of exactly what Texas wants, especially what the fans want in an interior offensive lineman. He played in 10 games last year, started 6. And in pass protection, he allowed just 8 pressures and 1 sack in 444 offensive snaps and 250 pass blocking snaps. Tennessee, he visited Tennessee before he visited Texas, but dude, sign me up for that guy.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, look, Texas needs, we were like, you get like 3 offensive linemen, 2 to 3. I think you're like at 5 now that you need to get, just because there's just not any depth now at that position. You definitely need somebody there. You got to bring in some guys. So they still need to bring in some top guys. They need to bring in some guys behind the top guys. They just need a few more people.
There are also reports that Collier Tafai out of Minnesota is in conversations with Texas. I believe they're trying to get him on a visit. And he is a two-way lineman who primarily played as defensive tackle in high school, but transitioned to offensive tackle. He was recruited on both sides of the ball, but his upside is more on the offensive line. That's where he'll line up. That's where he is now. He moves well for a big man, looks comfortable on pulls and sweeps, has the physicality and toughness needed to excel in the trenches, can dominate at the point of attack, and is an excellent run blocker. Can get to the second level and will continue to improve as a pass blocker with more reps. If they can get this guy on campus, again, 6'5" or something, 340 pounds, sign me the F up.
Yeah. Hair the Dog, do you believe Sikorsky is the sausage king of Chicago? Come on out to Sikorsky's. Yeah. But a couple more guys out there. We know everyone's still waiting with bated breath in the Cam Coleman sweepstakes as well, because that one is a splash for whoever gets him, gets to have that really big splash out there. Still looking at some running back names, definitely more in the offensive line. They're going to continue to look there. By the way, whoever loses tonight and tomorrow, people are going to be trying to look and see who's available out of those two teams.
Yeah,
as well.
It kind of makes you think that Ole Miss is a little bit ahead of the game, because they've already got Trinidad Chambliss locked down, assuming he gets his waiver. They got Kwan Lacey. They got a bunch of receivers and offensive linemen and defensive backs and like all this stuff that they've just already signed to deals before they played tonight. So I'd love to see that. And I have heard that there is an offensive lineman for Ole Miss who could potentially enter the portal. And it would be a name to watch. Just saying.
No, and that's what I'm saying, is you could see that there's going to be more names that get in the portal as it goes on. Some younger guys, some older guys. It's, as numbers get thrown around and what's still out there, we'll get there. Linebacker is still a big piece of the puzzle for Texas. They're still looking for a few names there as well. But we'll keep you up to date in what we're hearing. Matt keeps his ear to the grindstone, or is it nose to grindstone? I don't know what body part is on it, but it's some body part.
Ear to the ground. I would say
ear
that.
To the ground. Yeah. He's keeping something, a specific body part to a piece of another substance. It's all happening. And we'll tell you what's happening here. But we will take our first break here, Matt. We'll come back. I want to get into the game tonight. Ole Miss versus Miami. I want to hear Matt's pitch for what he thinks is going to happen in this game. I trust Matt on this one. I've watched Ole Miss. I've watched Miami. I know Matt has watched Ole Miss more. So we will
Probably.
See. We will talk about that in the game. We'll get into some NFL conversation as well, and whatever you guys want to talk about, and we'll see if there's any more breaking news that happens during the show. Who knows? It's happened before, and we'll see if we can get some good luck. Got some positive momentum today. Positive momentum. Zion Williams coming in, Raleek Brown, positive momentum. I know, maybe some other names that maybe we're in, maybe our conversation, so we don't know yet, but we'll get into all that and continue on the show here in hour 2 of Open Gym coming up here after the break here on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations, and all of us at Audiovisual would like to wish you and your family a happy holiday season. This time of year can get a little hectic, so we want to remind you to relax, enjoy the season with your family and friends, and give us a call at 512-255-8678 for all of your home entertainment needs. This is my favorite time of the year. I love the holidays, the music, the decorations, the presents, the whole darn thing. So this year I'm asking all you listeners to help make this a special holiday for everyone. Smiles are contagious and free, so let's give them away like the government gives away your money. Let's high-five strangers on the street. Hold the door for people behind us. Tip your servers more than they've ever been tipped before. Give to a charity, or hell, give to a bunch of charities. If someone does a good job, tell them they did a good job. Pat someone on the butt. Sing in public places just because it feels good. And as always, hug your kids until they beg you to stop. Watch some games with your friends and make love to your wife or your husband. I know there's some women listening too. You can still give us a call at 512-255-8678 if you'd like to get some cool electronics. But more importantly, have a great holiday season and a fucking awesome next year.
You see covert everywhere. It's that personal level of just feeling like it's a personal family interaction.
The customer service, it's impeccable. It's unlike anything I've ever experienced buying a car.
Over the 30 years that I've been buying cars from them, I feel like I know them and they know me.
Covert's done an amazing job of making me feel valued. If you purchase a vehicle and you want to feel like you're part of a family, join the Covert family.
Come and experience it for yourself.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
BK here for OLIPOP. Man, this stuff is the game changer of all game changers. Their slogan is a new kind of soda, and that's exactly what it is. You get that same great soda taste, but OLIPOP is actually good for you. Inside of every can, a blend of 7 unique botanicals, plant fibers, and prebiotics. You're getting 9 grams of fiber in every can, only 2 to 5 grams of sugar, and man, the flavor is absolutely there. Classic soda flavors like cola, root beer, lemon lime, and Dr. Goodwin. That's their version of a Dr. Pepper, and some other great flavors as well. The grape, the cream soda, the cherry cola. It's all fantastic. I'm telling y'all, OLIPOP tastes just like the soda you grew up sipping, but with the added benefits of microbiome and digestive health support as well. Pick up OLIPOP at H-E-B, Target, Walmart, Whole Foods, and Costco all throughout the Austin area and the state of Texas. And head over to drinkolipop.com. Use the promo code TEXAS20 for a discount on your first purchase. It's OLIPOP, a new kind of soda.
Welcome back to Open Gym here on Texas Sports Unfiltered. Myself, Patrick Davis, alongside Matt Galatzan of Texas Longhorns on SI, and Ole Miss proud alum today on a Thursday before Ole Miss plays in the semifinals tonight. And of course, you, the third member of Open Gym. Text line's open 512-222-9328. And of course, over there on the chat, Facebook, Twitch, X, and on YouTube. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on a Thursday. Matt, 90 minutes to go, Matt. 90 minutes till kickoff. Now, I'm sure it may be later than that. They might do the whole spread out. Coverage starts at 6, game at 7:15, but 6:30 kick is what they say when they have those late starts. So I don't know if it'll be right at 6:30. I don't know if we're exactly 90 minutes away, but we're close enough that you got to be feeling a little anxious tonight.
Patrick, I've been anxious since probably I woke up the day after the Sugar Bowl. When I woke up this morning, I couldn't even think about the football game. Like, I had to immediately jump into my work because I didn't want to think about it. Now I have to think about it. It's going to be a good one, man. It's a scary game for Ole Miss. I think it's equally as scary of a game for Miami for different reasons, but it's going to be a heck of a matchup. I just, we'll get into the game, but there's something about that Miami defensive line that is about as terrifying as you can imagine.
Yeah, no, it is. It's going to be there. And CB, did I say Williamson? It's going to be hard for me to not say Zion Williamson. It's going to be
okay.
Hard
So if you Google Zion Williams to try and find out information about him, it tries to correct you into Zion Williamson.
So it's going to be difficult for me as someone who's covered basketball and done that and talked way too much about Zion Williamson and him not playing. Zion Williams If I misspoke, I apologize. Zion Williams is the defensive lineman from LSU who is committed to Texas earlier today. And yeah, here the dog. We need all the blood pressure medication. We need. I got a long way to go in our season for Texas basketball too. So we need all the help we can get as we go into it. But appreciate everybody hanging out with us here as we do get closer to it. But Matt, that's the big game tonight, man. That is the big game. We are getting down to where we should have gotten rid of all the riffraff in the college football playoffs. Everyone in the college football playoffs has now won a game in the college football playoffs. We have nobody else who is their regular season is just speaking with you. Appreciate you, CP. I know you know what I meant, but I'm like that one. Every time I say it, I'm like, please don't say Williamson. Don't say Williamson. But for Miami, Ole Miss tonight, Miami's a 3-point favorite in this game, which is somewhat surprising for a team that almost missed the playoffs. That if you would have stated this game as a first-round matchup, I would assume Ole Miss would be favored in a first-round matchup between these two teams. But what we have seen in the ensuing couple of weeks, Miami has looked really, really good. And while Ole Miss has looked good as well, Miami's looked really, really good and at some of those key positions. Matt, as you go into this, what's the play out of how this needs to go for Ole Miss to win, and what does Miami need to do to be able to stop Ole Miss and get going the way they want it to?
Well, I hate to be that cliche guy, but whoever is the more physical team and the team that wins in the trenches is probably going to win this football game. And that's scary because Miami has the best offensive line left in the playoff, I think by a wide margin. Definitely the best pair of tackles in the playoff by a wide margin. They certainly have the two best edge rushers left in the playoff. Reuben Bain is probably going to be a top 5 NFL draft pick. The other guy on the other side of him is really, really damn good. They got a lot of beef in the middle on both sides too. And it's, so whoever can control the line of scrimmage and control the football, I think is going to win this game. The advantage that Ole Miss has, I think, is at the skill positions at wide receiver. Obviously, both running backs are really good, but Kwan Lacey's, I think, on another level right now than Mark Walton. So, we'll see how it goes there. The biggest advantage that Ole Miss has in this game, though, is at quarterback. Trinidad Chambliss is like if you put a really good character, smart person into Johnny Manziel's body. Like he's unbelievable. Some of the plays that he makes, like in that Georgia game just alone, are some of the best plays that you will ever see in football, and he did them 3 plays in a row. So he has to play his best game. Kwan Lacey has to hold on to the football, stay healthy, and play his game. And I know that there's a lot of talk about these assistants that aren't going to be there for Ole Miss. I don't think that's going to have any effect on the game. Charlie Weiss is there. The running back is there. Pete Golding's there. Joe Judge is there. They have everybody except a grad assistant, a couple of offensive assistants, and their tight end coach. So I don't think that's going to be as big of a deal as everybody thinks it's going to be. But if there's one player on each side of the ball that I think outside of Trinidad Chambliss and Kwan Lacey has to have a big game, I would go with probably on the defensive side. You talk about Centarian Perkins, the edge rusher, who's one of the best in the country, a little bit undersized, but incredibly athletic, really good at getting after the passer. And then both of the Ole Miss tight ends, I think, are going to play major roles. Really different skill sets for each guy, but both guys bring a lot to the table. Luke Haas missed a lot of the year this year with an injury, but was able to come back and, obviously ball control and whoever turns the ball over and those kinds of things are going to be at a major premium. But if Ole Miss is going to win this football game, the other tight end is going to have a big one Daquan Wright, 6 foot, or what is he? 6'5"? Yeah, 6'4", 255 pounds. He looks bigger than that. When he lines up, he looks like an offensive lineman, but he's averaging almost 16 yards per catch. Love that guy. I think he's going to have a big game tonight. I really do. But Miami's got probably the best defense left in the playoff. They've got an experienced quarterback. They've got probably the best freshman wide receiver in the country. They've got a really good running back. I talked about the interior, or I talked about the trenches already. There's just going to be talent all over the field. So I could probably keep going for another 45 minutes, but I'm starting to get antsy, Patrick.
I mean, I think that's it. It's really this, like, there's so much of it where the matchup in itself could go either way in a lot of it. And I agree with you that it is very much of who shows up, who's ready to play in that moment and make those big plays. And it feels to people who've watched these two quarterbacks over last season and Carson Beck over the last 2 seasons that you keep waiting for Carson Beck to turn into somebody else. But I think that the key is you have to stop Fletcher. You have to be able to slow down Miami and get a lead. If you get a lead, you put the game in Carson Beck's hands, and that's where you feel you can get the advantage. If you're not able to move down the field and score, and if Ole Miss is basically stuck where it's a field goal game, they can continue to run the football, just play grounded out, not put Carson Beck in situations where he has the ability to really make a major mistake. And that's going to turn it around. So for Ole Miss, you have to find a way to have some big plays against this. Use their pass rush against you. Make the right read. Find a guy when they're sending everybody and coming after you. Now, if it's pass rush, it's hard to do. If it's a blitz, it's easier to do. Find that opening, get your guy downfield, and make a big explosive play. Get a touchdown and open it up. Just get a touchdown lead to make Mario Cristobal be a little bit more scared and try and put the ball in Carson Beck's hands. And if Carson Beck can get it going enough in that world, then, so be it. If Carson Beck plays better than Trinidad Chambliss, there's not going to be a wide margin of error for Ole Miss in this game. But I don't feel most people believe that's going to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, if Carson Beck plays a better game than Trinidad Chambliss, Ole Miss has no shot. I'll put it that way. Trinidad Chambliss has to be the best player in this game, and he definitely has to be the best quarterback in this game by a wide margin. He's the heart and soul of this football team, just like Johnny Manziel was the heart and soul of that Aggie team. Everything starts and stops with him. Does that, scream national title? Probably not, but you got enough good pieces around you that it still works. But he's got to be the best player on the field for the remainder of their season if they're going to win a championship. Hair the dog, I don't want to get too far ahead of it either. In the event that Ole Miss does win, I don't think there would be anything more satisfying to me in this world than Ole Miss beating Indiana for a national championship. But I'm not gonna jinx. I don't care who they play, honestly, out of the two. I just want them to get there.
No, he's gonna care tomorrow. He's gonna care tomorrow.
I'll care tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. If Ole Miss wins tonight,
let's table that conversation for open bar Friday.
Yeah, Gary. Yeah, we'll give him a couple drinks. He's gonna show up drunk tomorrow if Ole Miss wins this game.
I might.
For the open bar, open gym Fridays that we do here. And I don't know if Miami spies Chambliss. It doesn't feel like they have to. It doesn't feel like they have to. Now, if they have to, they probably have a game plan ready for it. Again, you have enough time to prepare for these games that you're ready for. If Chambliss starts to kill us, this is how we can spy him. But if you're Miami and how well that defense has been playing, you want to go full force ahead. Use everything at your ability to make Chambliss have to be a quarterback and trust your defensive line that they're not going to leave those big openings for him to get out of. And you think we can get enough pressure on him that we don't really need a spy as much as we just need to be able to wrap him up. That's not the case. They'll put a spy on him, but I wouldn't think they would have to early, at least.
No, he's not really looking to run all the time. Like it's not a. I know I said he's a better character, better person, smarter Johnny Manziel, but he doesn't play that way necessarily in terms of he's just going to pull it down and run the football if nothing's there. He's really good at biding his time and waiting for his receivers to get open, keeping his eyes downfield, all those different things. They have a few design runs for him here and there, but it's not like a, Vince Young, Lamar Jackson type thing where you got to have your eyes on him at all times and a spy on him at all times or he's just going to kill you. They like to get the ball out quick. They like to move quick. They get the ball snapped very quickly. It's all about tempo with them offensively. So I don't think they want to tire out Trinidad either by running him too much. It's going to be interesting to see, man. Miami's really disciplined and physical in their pass rush and their containment of the pocket. So if they're able to continue to do that tonight, then I don't think you necessarily have to spy them. And if you spy them, honestly, Ole Miss has so many weapons on the outside at receiver and tight end and at running back that's probably going to end up hurting you in the long run more than it's going to help you.
No, I mean, I'll look at it as, if you put a spy on a game in a game like this for Miami and their defense, you're playing 10 on 10. If you don't, you're playing 11 on 10. And it just gives you such an advantage to not have to put a spy on a quarterback, because you can either put that guy on a pass rush or you can put that guy in pass coverage. And it's just so much harder when you're playing 11 on 10 for the quarterback. But when they put a spy on, you're like, cool, we're playing 10 on 10. I can find somebody now. Like, those work a lot better on guys who don't pass the ball as well as Chambliss does. QB spies are much better on guys that you're like, no, we want you to throw the football. With Chambliss, they're fine with him. They're fine to throw him into coverage, but they don't necessarily want him. I don't think they care if he runs for 8 yards a few times in the game.
Yeah, you spy Marcel Reed. You don't spy Arch Manning or Trinidad Chambliss.
Yeah, because they can kill you with their arms. And Joe, this guy's not falling. We're okay. We're just a little tense. This guy's not falling. We're okay. And Jack, we all hate Jason Witten now. All not fans of Jason Witten anymore after he took the job over there at Oklahoma. So trying to be the tight ends coach over there at Oklahoma. Him and Mark Andrews, best friends, hanging out.
Yeah. All my homies hate Jason Witten.
All right, Matt, that leads us to our picks. Right now, I am up 1 after last week. I believe the Steelers Ravens game got me the lead last week. So now I'm up 1. This will be our only pick today. We'll make more picks starting tomorrow. But we got to make this one before we get there. Miami is favored by 3, Matt. Miami is favored by 3 at the VRBO Fiesta Bowl, Glendale, Arizona.
Yeah.
Matt, taking Miami here, of course.
Well, Patrick, try not to cuss on this show anymore because I've done it a couple times over the last few days, and I know it's Texas Sports Unfiltered, but you know.
Look, we try.
My nephews might be listening to this show.
We try and do a show for everybody. Sometimes, maybe I talk about Texas basketball and something slips out, but try and be for everybody.
Yeah, my nephews might be listening. My mom's probably listening. I know my sister's listening. My dad's listening. My dad probably doesn't care if I cuss as much, but no, I am not picking Miami. I picked Ole Miss in every single game that we have done a pick for them this year. I'm going to continue to do it until they lose. I think Ole Miss wins. I think Ole Miss covers. Obviously, if they're 3-point underdogs, I think that this is a kind of the lower scoring game than people think it's going to be because of the high-powered Ole Miss offense. I think they've improved dramatically defensively since Pete Golding has taken over. I think that they're more disciplined. They make less mistakes, less penalties, all the things. So my sister just texted me, F Miami. You can cuss if you want to.
I love it.
So I think the score of this game is probably going to be something like 28-24 Ole Miss. It's going to be another nail biter, in my opinion. Actually, let's say 27-23 Ole Miss. Let's go 27-23. Ole Miss wins and covers and advances to the national championship, and I do everything in my power not to go broke buying a ticket for the national championship.
27-23 Ole Miss. Yeah, I like that. The over-under is 52.5, by the way. So we do know at 52.5, that means 27-23 is right about on that number, right about the over-under as well. Look, man, I can't go against Ole Miss in this game, and I definitely can't pick Carson Beck in an important game. I know that Carson Beck is not necessarily the most important person in this game, because I think Carson Beck could throw for 112 yards in this game, and they win this game by 7 points. He could be he just didn't screw it up quarterback, and if they can run the football game, they'll just run the football, and they'll win one that's a little bit more low scoring because their defense is able to get it done. So I'm fully aware of that. But I'm picking Trinidad Chambliss. I'm picking the funniest story to me, which is making LSU pay a bunch of money to Lane Kiffin because they really thought his team wasn't going to win without him because they thought they got the steal of the century as a coach. Lane Kiffin just really solidifying the fact that when he was going to be, the redemption story was just right there, and he couldn't do it. He just couldn't be a decent human being long enough, and went ahead and ran to LSU. So I'm on board. Ole Miss. I'll go Ole Miss 24, Miami 20.
Okay. I like it.
I want to go 24-21, and Bert Auburn has to come in and misses a field goal, but I want to do that.
What if the score is 23-21
and he misses
Ole Miss gives the ball back to Miami after a field goal? For some reason, Bert Auburn comes in to kick the final field goal for Miami, and he misses wide left. Something like that.
He missed a bunch of field goals already. So I mean, we know Miami. Maybe they're trying out Bert Auburn a little bit more there, and we'll get him. So scholarship Bert may get in trouble over there in Miami if he misses that. He'll be like, I don't know where I'm going anymore. Not going
Texas
anywhere.
State. Go to Texas.
Does he have any eligibility left? I feel like he can't.
I don't know. Probably not.
We're both taking Ole Miss +3 right there in the picks. As we got to support our man Matt and the Ole Miss Rebels tonight, and I'm rooting for you, guys. Rooting for you tonight as they take on this game. Yeah, Chan, Bert Auburn is the luck charm. This is his third straight semifinal for the college football playoff.
As long as he doesn't play, he's the luck charm.
I mean, he didn't play in it last year.
Listen, it wouldn't
he's
be.
Played in one. He's been at 3. He's played in one.
It wouldn't be the college football, or sorry, it wouldn't be open gym if we didn't have a scholarship Bert Shade moment. Okay.
He's been in 3. He's played in 1 because he got benched last year and he didn't get the starting job this year in Miami. So scholarship Bert. Oof. But yes, scholarship Bert there. Matt, there's some college football. Do we get any more recruits? Do we get anybody any more transfers, Matt, in the last 20 minutes? I don't think we did.
Not yet.
I don't think we did. So let's talk a little.
This is what's going to be really annoying for me in this football game tonight, is I'm trying to sit there and watch Ole Miss in the biggest game that I've ever watched Ole Miss in my life. I'm going to have to pay attention to the fucking transfer portal.
Yeah, you're going to have to. It is. It's going to happen that you have to look at the transfer portal, and then you're going to get. The best part is someone's going to post something that's going to annoy the crap out of you because it's just false information. Oh, you're going to need the blood pressure medicine tonight. It's going to get up there.
I'm going to need lots of bourbon is what I'm going to need.
That is true.
God bless my girlfriend. She's going to have to deal with so much shit tonight. And I hope she's ready for it. I don't think she knows what she's in for because she's not really a football person.
Okay, so you don't have anybody else. You're not going to the bar to watch it. You're just watching it at the house.
No, I was going to go to a buddy's house, but I have to sequester myself. Like I'm too nervous to go somewhere else. I need to be in the comfort of my own home.
Yeah, a bar is weird too, because a bar there's going to be people there like, oh, you guys suck, and you're like, I can't Like, there's no argument to be had for you guys suck. There's nothing I'm going to tell you that's going to get you to go, no, you're right. You're right. You know what? Good point. So Hair the Dog, he don't drink Jack Daniels like us plebeians down here. He only drinks, the really good stuff.
If Ole Miss wins tonight, I am going to crack open my most expensive bottle of bourbon. I can promise you that.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, I'll see if I'll crack open actually, I've already cracked open my 3-liter bottle of whiskey. We opened it the other night. So
you need to bring that in so I can see what that actually looks like.
It's just a bottle of Jack. It's just bigger.
I know, but I want to see how big.
It's very large. It's very, very large. I unfortunately don't have the handle anymore. The handle is gone. So I've drank too much booze already. So it happens. It goes away quickly. You bring it over to someone else's house and then we all drink it and then it all goes away. Not myself. I drink it with friends. I'm a social guy, try and drink with some other people. All right. Matt, let's get into a little NFL talk. We may hit the power rankings if we have a little bit of time, but I do want to hit before that, before the power rankings, for our final power rankings. We haven't done them since week 16. So we may do that, but I don't know if I'll have time for it. But I do want to bring up, yesterday we got the shocking news that John Harbaugh was let go by the Baltimore Ravens. That this felt like, it's somewhat surprising because anytime a coach that has been tenured that long and they were still in the playoff hunt, they weren't just bad, and they were in the Super Bowl hunt a year ago. But this was one where you kind of saw the writing on the wall a little bit when they had the slow start and things just not going quite the way they wanted them to. We know that even though Georgia has been having a good season, a bunch of people are going to be calling for Bobo's head and wanting Todd Monken back because he is the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, who will most likely not be kept by whoever they bring in. But then today, Matt, we saw that Mike McDaniel and the Miami Dolphins have parted ways. And now Mike McDaniel is the number one offensive coordinator target in the NFL. Hands down, without a question. Just like John Harbaugh is the number one sought head coach right now. And so the what they're saying in Miami, and you can take that with a grain of salt because Miami has been proven in court to lie about these things before. So Miami is saying they fired Mike McDaniel without having any conversations with John Harbaugh, that they're not related things, but they decided that they did not want to keep the status quo in Miami. They wanted to move forward and try and bring in a new generation, a new world for it. What you can say about the Mike McDaniel era is that the offensive players played amazing football in that time span, that he made his offensive players better when they were on his team. He may have not been able to ever figure out the defensive side of the ball. They also got gutted defensively last year for him. A lot of that ended up. And for Texas fans, the thing that's the worst for us is this is a bad thing for Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers was in a good position where he proved to the coaches that he belonged there, playing in a system with Mike McDaniel that was perfect for what he does. And that is now all out the window. We do not know who they are going to bring in as the coach, as the offensive coordinator, but we do know Mike McDaniel is now out in Miami, Matt.
And the Lions have already contacted him about the offensive coordinator position, which, that would be scary if he could get his hands on Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs and all those dudes. But I was kind of surprised because they kind of made it seem like he was going to return next year. I find it very hard to believe that the firing of John Harbaugh had nothing to do with this. And I'm sure multiple teams are going to contact John Harbaugh because I think there's 8 openings right now or something in the NFL. We'll see. I really do feel bad for Quinn because there is only a couple of systems in the NFL that he is tailor-made for, and his coach and play caller just got fired from one of them. The other one's in San Francisco, and I don't think he's going to unseat Brock Purdy anytime soon. Maybe there's another one out there, but those were probably the two that I would say. And now, McDaniel's gone. Here's what I would like to see happen, though, Patrick.
Yes.
outside of Mike McDaniel being hired as the Texans offensive coordinator next season, which seems to be impossible at this moment because they're in the playoffs and they can't make a change right now. How about the Texas Longhorns hire him as an analyst or a, something kind of like they do with other NFL coaches that get fired or other coaches around the country that get fired. And he comes in just to help out the offense.
I think that would be wonderful for Texas offense. I think there's about
0% chance.
0.00001% chance of that coming to reality. Yeah, I don't think he wants to coach in the college game. He has never really shown any interest in being in college. He's worked his way up in the NFL. And again, if you said, do you want to be an analyst for the Longhorns or be the offensive coordinator of the Lions, you'd probably go with the Lions.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I mean,
I'm just saying in my dream world, that's probably what I would do.
I'm all on board with it. If anything short of the Texans winning the Super Bowl, Mike McDaniel should go heavy after him to be the OC next year. I don't think they will. I think they will not look at anybody and then just be like, oh, we're keeping it for another year. We thought we did better at the end. And then they're going to give CJ Stroud a bunch of money and everyone's going to get mad because he's not improving because they keep giving him bad OCs that don't know how to, make quarterbacks better. Just my opinion on what's going to happen, but we will see if they can go out and go get him. But I was excited to see that there's a possibility. And then, of course, we saw that the Lions were the first to contact him. I was like, damn it, Lions, no, you guys can't do that. I assume Tampa Bay is going to call him too. Tampa Bay just let go of their offensive coordinator, which, Matt, I don't know if there is a more pass-fail offensive coordinator position than Baker Mayfield's offensive coordinator. It is a pass-fail. You either get a head coaching job or you get fired. That is what you get to be if you are Baker Mayfield's offensive coordinator.
Listen, I don't particularly feel bad for Baker Mayfield very often for multiple reasons. But he's got to be going crazy. Every single year it's a new play caller. He's got to learn a new system.
Happened in Cleveland too.
Yeah. And a little bit sometimes I think a little bit of how much more of this can he really take and continue to be a good quarterback?
I mean, I think that's one of his superpowers now is being able to adjust to a new system over and over and over again. Because, I mean, even if you look in college, he went from Texas Tech to Oklahoma. He changed in college and then goes pro. And then in Cleveland, it was just year after year and it changed. And then he goes and deals with the cluster F that was the Carolina Panthers and was a scout team safety for the Carolina Panthers because that's how much they mismanaged that one. And Baker Mayfield gets to go off and then, he works with Sean McVay for a little bit and he's like, okay, I'm revitalized. He puts two guys as head coaches and Dave Canales and Liam Cohen. Those were both his OCs. And then they just fire his OC now. And you're like, man, that guy is just every year. Do you think he just at the end of the season, they're like, do you want your playbook? And he's like, I won't need it.
Yeah, just now throw it in the trash. I know you're bringing somebody else in.
I don't need it. I'll get somebody else. But yeah, definitely interesting there. We did see Jerry Jones say a quote that is now being around. I feel like this is the Jerry Jones offseason quote, that he is not all in this offseason, that he didn't go that, because he even said a little bit we may not be that crazy in free agency. He's like, if we find the right thing, but he definitely did not say all in at his season-ending press conference to Jerry Jones. But he did say, man, that Micah Parsons trade, without that, we'd be so screwed. Oh man, we'd be screwed. We could probably had to let go half our roster and we'd have no picks. They would have even taken our picks if we just kept them. So he just kept saying everything they can do this offseason is because they made the Micah Parsons trade, which is not really true because gave up Quinnen Williams. You gave up picks for Quinnen Williams. What do we got?
I've talked about this guy a little bit.
Okay.
All ACC linebacker Cade Ualave is on campus at Texas for his visit, according to On Texas Football CJ Vogel.
Okay. All right. So we got another linebacker there. Linebacker waiting out.
A really good linebacker.
Okay. I like
Will
that.
Muschamp is going to have to pull out all the stops and do his thing. And Will Muschamp's a beast. So I feel pretty good about this one. Let's hope they can bring it home.
Yeah, I mean, and hey, man, get everybody on campus now because I think the cold front hits like tomorrow, Saturday. And I don't know if we want them to see, you don't want it to shut down. 50. You don't want 40-degree Austin. You want to show them nice 70-degree Austin.
Yeah, he's been playing in Cali for forever. You gotta say, hey, this is what it's like all year.
Yeah, no, that'd be a really big pickup. Glad to see he's on campus. Linebacker is one of those pieces, especially depending on what Bo Barnes decides to do. We know he says he's in the portal. We have heard that is not the be-all, end-all that it was a few years ago in Sark's mind. We saw with Derek Williams that he has come back. So Sark has softened his stance on if you hit the portal, you're dead to me. I mean, it's not saying you're dead to me, but Sark basically said if you hit the portal, it's done. There's no coming back. Dad has apparently softened a little bit this season with the return of Derek Williams, who went in the portal and came back to Texas. So I think they know. So with Bo Barnes, who knows? Can't speculate either way, but we do know that there's conversation still happening. He is still in contact with Texas football. So that's the positive there. But you need to get as many linebackers as you can because, and a week away, then, we're at the back end of that portal and you may be calling people just be like, hey, we got 75 scholarship guys. You want to come in? We just need somebody to come in here. Good to see him on campus. Happy to see that. But back to what we were saying, if I can remember where I was at.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but that's
no, we're good
stuff right there.
I know, but I was talking about Jerry Jones, so I'm just pulling a Jerry Jones mold to not remember what I was talking about. But
his not spending money in free agency deal.
Jerry Jones, he says he's not going to do that. But then the quote that now everybody is running with is that Jerry Jones said he wants to be the owner with the most championship rings, most Super Bowl rings of any owner when he dies. He has to double and then add one. So he has to add 4 more to get there. Robert Kraft has 6. He would need to win 4 more to get there. He's got 3. He's not starting at 0 and saying this. I'll give him that. Now, granted, that was when he first bought the team and had Jimmy Johnson, and that's the reason why they were able to do everything. But Jerry Jones said, my goal has always been, and that's my goal. I care more about getting more Super Bowl. That's what my legacy is. I'm going to be the owner with the most Super Bowl rings, is what he is saying. That's what he wants to say. And then just for note, let me check my notes. Robert Kraft's team in the playoffs won their division.
Mm-hmm.
Figured it out. Bill Belichick, they saw that they had to cut the dead weight there at the end. Things were not going the way they wanted post Tom Brady. They bring in Jared Mayo, who's kind of the coach in waiting. A lot of guys really liked. Saw quickly that probably wasn't the way to go. Saw Mike Vrabel available. And Mike Vrabel comes in and immediately turns it around. And so Jerry Jones is in his own little universe where he's pretending. So that is the saying now, if you don't think I'm doing everything to try and win the Super Bowl because I want to have 7 Super Bowl wins, you see, if you don't think I'm doing that, that's the new all in. So it's not all in this season. It's the quest for 7.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Jerry, but that's never going to happen.
No, of course
he's probably not going to be around for the next Cowboys Super Bowl because that Super Bowl is never going to come. Because Stephen Jones is just as bad as Jerry Jones. They're never going to win another Super Bowl as long as the Jones family is in control of that organization. Ever.
No, I'm aware, Matt. I just think that I'm just letting everybody know that is the new message for because we know the reality is they haven't even said they're signing George Pickens yet. They're keeping him. They haven't done. They did mention that they screwed up not keeping Jordan Lewis. They did mention that they were like, we really should have kept Jordan Lewis, which all of us could have told you again. You should have kept Jordan Lewis.
I would say so, yeah. I do have some Cowboys news that it just broke.
Okay, what you got?
The Cowboys have requested permission to speak with Minnesota defensive passing game coordinator Durante Jones, Denver assistant head coach and passing game coordinator Jim Leonard, and Browns safeties coach Ephraim Banda for their defensive coordinator vacancy, according to Todd Archer.
All right.
I mean, yeah, sure.
Sure. Yeah, and I know that Dan Campbell is interviewing I believe the tight ends coach from the Cowboys. So we have got that. We've got some of those guys in there. But Matt, the question I want to ask you is because, I just brought up Matt Vrabel there. And I wanted to look at which team in the NFL now, when we saw the Patriots go from really bad, hiring Mike Vrabel and turning it around, there's 9 teams now that have coach openings in the NFL. Which team has the best chance to bring in a good coach? You could still go with the Mike McDaniel if you really wanted to. There's some rumors that the Ravens might even look at Mike McDaniel as their next head coach. They look at it and go, we're trying to find a way to make Lamar Jackson as great as Lamar Jackson can be. We're all in on Lamar Jackson. We got to make him great. Now, that works. Lamar Jackson has the capabilities to be a game changer offensively, but you got to put everything around him. You still have to have a defense that works. You still have a lot of pieces that work for anybody, because we see it with Josh Allen. Josh Allen's amazing. They haven't won a Super Bowl yet. You got to have all the pieces.
Who are the 9 teams? I've got the Ravens, the Dolphins, the Titans, the Giants, the Cardinals, the Falcons. Who else is there?
We say that. Wait, you got to go again. Say it again.
Ravens, Dolphins, Titans, Giants, Cardinals, Falcons. Who else?
Browns.
Well, they're
Giants.
not.
Did you say the Giants?
I did.
Raiders.
They're not going to be it either.
I feel like, how many is that now?
That's 8.
It's 8. Maybe we're at 8.
I think it's 8. It's 8 or 9. Regardless, I think that there's 2 teams that you can look at and say they have a real chance to hire a good head coach and be good very quickly. And I think it's the Ravens and the Dolphins.
So there's no one coming up that was bad, really bad last year. You don't see a Cardinals or a Titans or a Giants turnaround.
I think that the Giants are probably the closest team in that conversation to those other 2, because they have Jackson Dart, they have Malik Neighbors, they have Cam Scatteraboo, they've got the 2 edge rushers, they've got some pretty good talent on that team.
Yes.
But I think clearly the answer is the Ravens.
Well, yeah. And I think the Ravens, as a team who's looking for a coach, they may not even be eligible for this, solely in the fact that they should have been a playoff team this year.
Mm-hmm.
Money wise, they had some issues. Derrick Henry is getting older, so you got to figure that one out. But yeah, they should have been a playoff team this year. But I would say it's the Giants. I think a 4-win Giants team could be a playoff team next season. I'm not saying they will be, but I think if they make the right hire as a head coach, which is if they go out and they're able to get like a John Harbaugh to kind of stabilize what they're doing, show them some of the things they're doing wrong, have the people he's able to bring in with him that are his guys, I think there's a chance you put them into the playoff picture in 1 year. I don't think they're like the Patriots in, winning a division, but I think that division is still kind of screwy. We've heard the stuff of the unrest in Washington now with the Commanders, that the ownership's meddling too much again, that they didn't like his his coaching hires, and they were the ones that said Cliff Kingsbury's got to go, even though Dan Quinn didn't want that they were meddling in decisions throughout the season. So it doesn't feel like that's necessarily going to turn itself around next year. we know the Cowboys are the Cowboys. You expect them to be able to find a way to get back into above 500. But I don't know much more than that. So you have winnable games against those two teams. And the Eagles are they firing all their assistants again and going out to find new? Are you keep Vic Fangio, but are you firing your offensive coordinator and going out to find a new guy? Are you going to go try and get Mike McDaniel, pay him a ton of money, and figure out how you can make this? I mean, if I'm the Eagles and I've got all the money,
I have purposely avoided putting that out into the universe, and you have just ruined it. If the Eagles hire Mike McDaniel, we're all done.
I don't want it either. I don't know if he wants to work with Jalen Hurts, though.
I think he can make Jalen Hurts work just fine.
I mean, when he's like, I get Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, you get Saquon Barkley there, but you're like, I get Jahmyr Gibbs, and I can build my next quarterback, and we'll just trade our 7th-round pick for Quinn Ewers, and he'll be the next quarterback here at the Lions. We'll be good to go.
Get Matthew Stafford back in Detroit. How about that?
Oh, don't do that to Matt. That's like it's trauma for Matt Stafford. He's got to go back there. He's going to have PTSD while driving in, just turn around. No, I mean, like, I do think for me, the Giants, they were really injured this year. They competed in a lot of games. Now, I don't know if Jackson Dart is the guy of the future. I do know that if you can bring in the right coordinator and the right people to work with him, then you'll at least get a decent idea if that's the case or not after this season. But you're going to have to figure out what you want to put together to go get him. Go get an offensive coordinator once you get Harbaugh. Does Harbaugh bring Todd Monken with him? Because that's an interesting name to put with Jackson Dart. And I think that leads you. If you're Cam Scadaboo and you're like, and Jackson Dart, you got to be pretty thrilled you're going to walk in for the offensive coordinator who just had Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson a couple years ago looking amazing. So I think that there's a way that they could jump up and be in that conversation, depending on what the Eagles end up doing with their offensive coordinator position. I hope they keep him. They made the playoffs. They won the division. You can't fire anybody, right? You got to keep your guys. And I mean, unless they get killed in the first round, but
I actually really like that idea, Randy. Did you see Randy's idea in the chat? Pete Carroll in Texas as an analyst. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah,
he's not going to be coaching anyone.
No.
His mentor is Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah,
or Steve Sarkisian is
Steve Sarkisian. No, he looks up to Steve
Sarkisian. Or Pete Carroll is Steve Sarkisian's mentor.
Yeah, no, I could see this, and this is the pitch to Pete Carroll. I'm telling you that Sark's talking a lot about Nick Saban, isn't he? Sark mentions Nick Saban's name a lot more than he mentions yours, doesn't he? Doesn't he? Yeah. Now, my guess is Pete Carroll's going to go into announcing at some source, and someone's going to pay him a huge amount of money to be an announcer. But if he doesn't want to, and he wants to come and work somewhere, I'm with you. I like that, Randy. That's a good idea. Give him an opportunity to come and work with some of these players, impart his wisdom, be a part of it. Now, you got to make sure he knows what his role is, but a lot of these times, these guys are fine knowing what their role is and being happy. And then you just see him running out in the field shirtless. And
here's the thing about an analyst, too, is they don't even have to be in Austin.
It's true. Not all the time.
He can be wherever he wants to be, and they just, conference him in and give him things to do, and he helps, from afar. That's what a lot of the analysts end up doing anyway. So, I mean, until he decides he wants to really get back into coaching, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Joe, the problem with Miami, and I know it's a nice city and all, the problem with Miami right now is they're still kind of in cap hell, and you got Tua, who you don't want, and you got Tyreek Hill, who you don't want.
Yeah.
Like, they're just kind of stuck in a purgatory of, we don't have the right pieces here, and the guys we got that we're paying a ton of money to, we don't really want anymore. So it still feels like they're a year or two away from being able to really rebuild. And maybe that's why they fired McDaniel, because they're like, dude, you're too good for us to tank, and we really need a tank for 2 seasons. And then we can bounce back and hire somebody and be really, really good in a couple of years. It wouldn't at all be surprising for me if they were in the Arch Manning sweepstakes next year to try and rebuild what they're doing. Yeah, I mean, I just don't know. I don't know how you turn that program around when they had to get rid of all their defensive stars. They're just getting rid of everybody on defense. And then they got rid of a bunch of guys. And then the Tua and Tyreek Hill contracts. You were meant to already win by now. The window is closed on those contracts being a good contract. So unfortunately, and I don't think Carroll's going into coaching. I would guess he'd be an announcer or a analyst or doing that wherever on TV where someone would pay him a ton of money because he's, he can do the new Pac-12. Be the voice of the new Pac-12. Pete Carroll going out there. Yeah, but that's the reason why the Miami job maybe wouldn't be my number one place to go for right now. Like so much of what you're looking at is like quarterback and cap space. And they don't necessarily have either one right now.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I hope Quinn Ewers can find somewhere else to go.
The good news for them is because McDaniel's gone, there's probably not a huge price to get him. Now, since the fact he played, it may be up, but you're probably still like a 4th or 5th round pick for him.
Cowboys.
Don't
enough with the Joe Milton experiment. Bring in Quinn Ewers. Let Dak Prescott flame out next year, and then make Quinn Ewers your starting quarterback, and then trade for Bijan Robinson and make him your starting running back, and then we're good to go.
Oh, and you can pick up Michael Taft too in the draft.
Yeah, pick up Michael Taft in the draft. Maybe Anthony Hill.
Anthony Hill and Demo.
Yeah,
around there in the linebacker pot.
Yeah, Manny Muhammad back there at corner as well.
Yes. So but yeah, that's really the question is when you're looking at it is quarterback and cap room, and that's where you're looking at all of them. And yeah, the Jets by far worst. Jets, no chance. There's nothing. And I mean, they still have a coach. They still got Aaron Glenn. So they're just awful. All right, let's take our second break real quick, Matt. We come back, we'll wrap it up, hit our meathead. Matt's going to try and not start crying out of anxiety cries before this game. Matt, you're about 40 minutes away now.
Yeah. I'm more nervous right now than when I got my tonsil surgery done. And I am terrified of being put under by anesthesia and terrified of needles. So you can imagine how that makes me feel right now.
All right. Well, we'll see how Matt's feeling in a few minutes when we come back here in the break. We'll wrap it up with you guys. Anything else you throw in the chat, we'll get to here in 2.5 minutes. Wrap it up here on Open Gym on Texas Sports Unfiltered.
Hi, I'm Dan Covert with my wife Hayden. Welcome to Covert BK.
Our newest location in the gorgeous Hill Country includes Buick, GMC, Cadillac, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram, and hundreds of pre-owned and certified vehicles for you to choose from. We have 3 service departments that are ready to take care of your car, truck, or SUV with 86 service bays to accommodate any repair and get you in and out quickly. Come visit us today to select the vehicle you've been dreaming about.
Covert, born and raised in Austin.
Hi, this is Tom McKay, owner of Audiovisual Consultations, and we'd like to take a moment to thank all of our clients for making the last 37 years both fun and fruitful. If you haven't yet, I'd like to invite you to give us a try for all your home electronics needs. There's no need to leave your home to find great pricing and incomparable service. No traffic, inexperienced sales geeks, or pushy showroom tactics. We come to you. So just relax, hug your kids, and smile. We handle all the work. Just give us a call at 255-8678 or online at avconsultations.com.
Say hello to Jason and the gang over at Relax the Back. They embrace a holistic approach for a healthier lifestyle based on 35 years, folks, of proven expertise, and my back couldn't be happier. Their motto is live wellness, and folks, they can transform your routine, your daily routine, into something very, very special if you have back pain. If you're struggling with thoracic problems, if you got hip problems, if you got lumbar problems, please go over to one of their stores. They got 2 great locations, and find out a chair or a recliner or a sofa that's going to fit you and going to make your life a whole lot better. I've got this office chair right here that I've been sitting in for years, and I love it. 2 locations, folks, at the Hill Country Gallery across from Whole Foods, and in North Austin at the Gateway Shopping Center across from the Container Store. Live pain-free like the Buck at Relax the Back.
SendTexTickets.com. If you're in the market for tickets to any sporting event, any concert, any Broadway show, anything live coming to town, you got to head over to SendTexTickets.com. The best seats to all of the biggest events, not just here in Austin, but all over the state and all over the country as well. It's so easy to use. Just log on your phone or computer to sendtexttickets.com. All of their tickets are 100% guaranteed, and they will be delivered right to your phone or computer. So simple to use, and you're also helping to support a local business every time you shop. sendtexttickets.com. So if you want to be at the biggest events in sports and entertainment, there's only one place to go. It's sendtexttickets.com.
Wrapping things up here on Open Gym. Matt, take some deep breaths.
Well, see, I got my girlfriend's dog back here helping me produce the end of the show. He's keeping me on the up and up right now until we
take some deep breaths, work on your breathing exercises, go out and stretch out a little bit, do some jumping jacks, some push-ups. You just feel get the energy up, you feel much better,
Or just drink and eat a lot of bad food.
You know what? I was trying to be the positive way, man. I was trying to give you the other options. We self-medicate is the other way. we're all aware of how to self-medicate. Matt, did you see this the other day? It's been going around of people seeing this. Victor Wembanyama freaking people out again with what he can do. This is a quick clip here, Matt.
Back in the lineup in karate choppers. Wemby's back in the lineup in karate choppers.
Are you kidding me?
Wemby kicking a group of balls in the net. There's 4 basketballs in the net, so the net's probably 9 feet off the ground. So 9 feet or so off the ground, and Wemby kicks it. And let's keep it in mind, he's on a minutes restriction because of a hyperextended knee, man, and he still does this.
He is such a freak of nature.
It's so nuts.
Like, I don't know that there's anybody on earth that can do that.
No, they're like, who's kicked? And someone's kicked like 10 feet away, but it's like guys who train their whole lives to do it, to be able to jump real high and have the, long legs and the right height and everything else. It is a ridiculous thing. I'm so glad he's a Spur, and even more glad that he likes being a Spur.
Yeah, really, Luka really liked being a Maverick too.
But he didn't grow up being a Mavs fan. He grew up being a Spurs fan. He wants to be a Spurs. So I get it. I don't think the Spurs are as poorly run as the Mavs are. Where until Mark Cuban sold them, they were fine, and then Mark Cuban sold them, and immediately rich people do rich people things, and Luka gets traded. That general manager did it, is gone now. Luka had a big game last night, played well, but the Spurs still came away with the victory. No LeBron James, no Austin Reeves for the Lakers. So Wemby and the Spurs, even though Wemby's on a minutes restriction, got the win last night. We also heard that Trae Young is traded to the Washington Wizards. Matt, were you aware of this?
Yeah, he deserves that.
He wanted to go there. He pushed for the trade. Basically, Atlanta told him, go find a trade for us. So it makes sense for us. And you would think, all right, Trae Young, he's a big name, max level player. Guy like that would get, some good return. They got a contract dump in CJ McCollum, expiring contract, and Cody Kispert. That's what they got.
Yeah. I guess the Mavs really did win the draft day trade after all.
No picks for Trae Young. You got a sharpshooter.
Yeah.
And an expiring contract to get rid of Trae Young. That is nuts. Yes, another trade. There are 2 trades for the Wizards now. Trae Young and Trae Johnson.
Texas, I hate that for Trae Johnson.
Look, he's going to get open shots.
He's probably just not going to get the ball as much as he wants.
No, he's not going to be able to create, but he's a good sharpshooter. That's what they're using him for right now. He'll continue to be a good sharpshooter. But yeah, it's going to be a lot more pass and shoot because you get the ball with 2 seconds on the shot clock.
Just a little bit of a note, by the way, before we exit the show.
Yes.
Ty Haywood, freshman 5-star offensive tackle for Michigan from Denton Ryan, Texas, has just entered the NCAA transfer portal.
Okay.
Just something to think about.
All right. We're rooting for the Rebels tonight. Matt, we're hoping we have a great show tomorrow and you are enjoying yourself and having a good time. And then we can talk all about the rest of the playoffs. We'll do all that tomorrow. Hopefully more good news. Hopefully more good news in the portal front as well as we go into a Friday edition of Open Gym tomorrow. But until then, be kind, be safe, keep your underwear clean. We'll see you right back here tomorrow for more from Open Gym.